Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is part 1 of our story. If you like this what if story and want to see part 2, let me know in the comments below. Before we start, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends. Also, check the description for more great content and my playlist. This story was posted by 𝐒𝐿 on Wattpad. Now, let's start. The day had finally come for 𝐒𝐿. He just turned 4 and he would get to hear what his quirk was. At least that's what he thought. Little did he know his life would change. 𝐒𝐿 together with his mom 𝐒𝐿 were walking towards the hospital. Once they got inside, the doctor was already waiting for them. The doctor took a scan to see if 𝐒𝐿 had a quirk, but what he saw shook him. "Sorry kid, you should give up on being a hero. I regret to inform you, but you are quirkless." 𝐒𝐿's world fell apart. He was so shocked that he couldn't move a muscle or even say a thing. His mother kept telling him that she is sorry, but he still couldn't respond. After that they slowly walked home. Reality still hadn't reached 𝐒𝐿 yet, as he was walking with his mother still smiling. When they got home it was already late, so they went to bed. Then in the middle of the night 𝐒𝐿 woke up because of a loud bang and a scream. "Mom, what's wrong?" he asked while rubbing his eyes, still sleepy. 𝐒𝐿 run. Then another bang was heard. He quickly got up and ran outside his room. Nothing could have prepared him for what he saw. A group of men covered in black with a mask on, while his mother lay on the ground in her own BLD. Quick, grab the kid and run. They injected him with a drag to knock him out and quickly took him away. When he woke up he was in a large dark room all alone. He tried walking around, his hands on the wall, trying to feel his way to a door. When he reached the door, someone opened it and walked inside. "Good evening 𝐒𝐿 Midoriya, I am sorry for the harsh treatment, but we just needed you to be here," the man said. Someone clicked the lights on, which were blinding little 𝐒𝐿 at first, but once he got used to it he saw the doctor from earlier. "See, you have this quirk," the doctor said. "Once the professor heard about it, he just needed to have you," he explained. "We will learn you how to control it, and then you will learn to listen to us in every command," the doctor said with an evil grin. 𝐒𝐿 didn't like this at all, but he didn't want to die, so he just rolled with it. Time skip, 10 years. For 10 years now the doctor, professor, and the henchmen were training 𝐒𝐿 to control his quirk. His quirk was called energy control. It's a bit like for Dragon Ball Z. This is just something to compare it with. He won't be able to shoot energy beams or fly with his quirk. He controlled the energy inside his body and could do amazing things. He could channel his energy and make a barrier to protect himself. The more energy he used, the bigger it got, but the longer he used it and the more powerful the attack was, the more energy it will take. He can even protect someone else by making a defensive sphere around someone, but this will cost twice as much energy. Furthermore, he could channel his energy to create shockwave with a punch or kick. That's not all, he can also sense killer intent as well as someone's presence if he concentrates, but most importantly he could feel attacks coming from a distance. His quirk also enhances his normal power and speed, so he doesn't need his quirk to boost his attack and speed. However, he will have to train to get faster and stronger. The professor and the doctor also injected another quirk inside his body, which was 𝐼𝐻𝐿. His wounds and energy would heal faster than they normally would. Not a significant speed though, but they injected the quirk inside 𝐒𝐿 so he would heal more of his energy so he could fight longer. 𝐒𝐿 was being trained to be unbeatable. If they had him completely under control, then no one could stand in their way. Or so they thought. 𝐒𝐿 learned how to fight one-on-one, but also how to fight multiple opponents. After that he had to learn to tolerate pain. Or so they told him, but they just wanted to torture him. They would hit him with a WHP over and over till he began bleeding. "I wonder how long I have to endure this hell." 𝐒𝐿 thought, "I'm glad I am not alone in this anymore," he said, looking at a sleeping girl by his side. The girl was thrown in there with him just 3 months ago. She slowly woke up and looked at 𝐒� still sleepy. "Morning Dawn, had a nice nap?" he asked. Dawn only nodded. Then some henchmen stormed in. "You two come with me." Hesitantly 𝐒� and Dawn got up and walked behind the henchmen, when suddenly they walked into an open room. Good to see you two are still doing well," the professor said, using a mic to talk to them from somewhere, although they didn't know from where. "It's time to put your quirks to the test," he said while giving an evil laughter. Suddenly a beam shot towards 𝐒�'s leg and pierced it. He fell to the floor and groaned in pain. "Now Dawn, heal him," She placed her hands above the wound when a blue light surrounded her hands, slowly healing the wound. When Izuku was healed, he got back up. "Thanks, Dawn," he said while Dawn gave a light smile. "No problem, Izuku." The professor was not pleased to see this. In his opinion, Dawn was too innocent and Izuku had still too much emotions. "All right, Izuku, now kill Dawn," the professor ordered. They both looked at each other in shock. "I won't," he said, determined. "You dare to ignore my order," the professor said. "Now, Cest. Either you kill her or we will." Izuku got wide-eyed when suddenly a group of henchmen walked in with blades and also quirks that could cause quite some damage. Izuku gritted his teeth. Then someone with a WHP walked up first. "Let's see if she can handle the torture you endured," the man said while trying to use his WHP on Dawn. But before it hit her, Izuku jumped in front of her, taking the hit. "You brat. If you want to go first, then so be it." He kept hitting Izuku with the WHP, when after some time Izuku fell to his knees. "Now before I finish you off, I will give you the pleasure of seeing your friend here die," he said to Izuku while walking past him towards Dawn. "No," he silently said, "I won't let you," he said slowly, standing up. "I won't let you hurt us anymore, and I certainly won't let anyone harm Dawn ever again," he shouted. He quickly ran towards Dawn, placed his arms around her and channeled as much energy as he could in his body. He began screaming when all of a sudden a shockwave was shot from Izuku, hitting everyone but him and Dawn back. It was so powerful that the walls were broken, the tiny windows at the roof shattered, and a few henchmen were unconscious as they crashed into the wall by the force. Izuku, now breathing, still held on to Dawn. She was so scared she only held him and froze. "We have to get out of here," Izuku breathed. He wanted to walk away when he felt murderous intent from behind him. There were still some henchmen standing. When Izuku fully turned around, the henchmen attacked him. A woman with long claws charged first, cutting the left part of his chest. Izuku would let that beat him as he quickly countered it with a powerful punch to the face. "That's one down. 4 to go," he thought. He knocked the second henchman out with a roundhouse kick to the gut and an uppercut to the jaw. Then quickly shot towards number 3, jabbing him between the ribs. For the fourth and fifth, he used a shockwave from his quirk to knock them out. After he made sure they were all unconscious, he quickly ran towards Dawn, who was still in shock. He kneeled before her. "Quick, get on my back," he said while breathing. But you are hurt badly," she said. "We don't have time for that. We have to get out while we still can. We will worry about my injuries later," he said. Dawn quickly got on his back. Izuku broke through the damaged wall and quickly ran through hallways searching for the exit. He opened doors everywhere, until he found a room with some notes on a desk. "Project Nomu," it said. Izuku began reading the note and saw that this Nomu was being made specifically to kill All Might. This shocked Izuku. That will never happen. No one is stronger than All Might, he thought. He looked around in the room to see some sort of pod. In it he saw a black creature with a strange beak and a brain on the top of his head. This has to be that Nomu thing, he thought. He wanted to investigate more but heard noise in the hallway. He felt a lot of murderous intent from them. He quickly hid, waiting for them to pass. Once they did, he quickly ran out of the room back to the hall and tried to find the exit. He quickly found a staircase. Luckily there were also windows. He quickly ran towards the window to see where he was, but was shocked to see that they were at the top floor of a skyscraper. "We have to go downstairs fast," he said silently to Dawn. But then he noticed she passed out. She was so scared of everything that happened that she just passed out. After seeing Dawn passed out on his back, Izuku quickly sprinted down the stairs. He was fast enough to avoid running into anyone until there was a large amount of villains standing in front of him. "I am almost at the ground floor. I can't be stopped here," he thought. "I have to keep Dawn safe." He looked out the window and saw other buildings close to him, which gave him an idea. "I can either risk it and have a chance at dying, then staying here and definitely die," he thought. He used his quirk on his leg with his superhuman strength to break the wall and window. After that, the villains started to run towards Izuku to try and stop them from escaping, but Izuku wasn't waiting for them as he quickly jumped outside. Sadly, they just barely missed the roof of the next building and started falling down. Izuku quickly made a barrier to prevent them from falling to death. When they landed, the shield just disappeared. "I can't use my quirk for now anymore. Guess I have to run with my own power even though I am low on energy," he thought. He quickly stood up and began running through the city. Everywhere people were looking at him and Dawn. Mostly because Izuku was still bleeding from his left side of the chest. His shirt was ripped away from his left side so the damage was clearly visible. Izuku didn't stop and ran out of the city inside the woods. He felt that they were being followed. 3 people, but I don't sense any murderous intent from them. Still, I can't trust anyone, he thought. After all the experiments they did and after all the torture and such, Izuku and Dawn only trusted each other and no one else. I think I lost them, he thought as he hid in a bush while laying Dawn down next to him. He sat down while heavily breathing. He really needed to take a break. He was so weak he couldn't even feel presences anymore. After a few minutes he thought it was okay to leave. When he got up to look around he heard Dawn slowly regaining consciousness. When she opened her eyes she was shocked to see that they were outside. What happened? Where are we? Are you okay? She started barraging him with questions until he placed his hand on her mouth. We barely got out, but after we made it out I ran out of the city towards a forest, but we were being followed by 3 people, that's why we are now here hiding, he whispered. Dawn nodded as she understood the situation. She looked at Izuku and saw that his wound was still bleeding. Let me heal you. You will die of blood loss if you keep this up, she said, worried. Izuku nodded. Sorry for worrying you, he said while she slowly started to heal him. After a few minutes the wound was closed so he would lose any more blood, but she was exhausted. After everything that had happened, it just drained her. Thanks, I will be fine now, we should go. We have to find shelter and some clothes to cover up, he said. Yeah, especially you, she said, giggling a bit. You almost don't even have a shirt. You also need to wash that blood off too, she said. They slowly walked off, not knowing their destination, when they found a waterfall. All right, I am going to wash up, he said, walking towards the waterfall. He quickly stripped till his underwear and jumped into the water. When he quickly got up from underwater, all the blood on his body was gone, only leaving a big scar on his left side of his chest. Oh well, just another scar. Nothing to do about it now, he thought. He then quickly got out of the water, clothed himself, and saw Dawn waiting for him. She heard him walking up to her. She turned around happy he got back, but then saw the scar on his chest and looked at him with guilty eyes. Don't, he said, taking the girl by surprise. This is not your fault. And besides, I rather have this than losing you, he said with a smile. They could only show emotion towards each other. When suddenly Izuku took a fighting stance. What's wrong? She quickly asked. The 3 people found us, he said while seeing 3 people walking up to them. When looking closer he saw a blonde guy with a cartoonish face, together with a girl with long blue hair which curled around her middle, and the last guy had black hair but kinda looked like a coward. Who are you and what do you want from us? Midoriya said, holding his stance and keeping Dawn behind him. We saw you guys falling from a building. When we came to see if everything was alright, we saw you running away covered in blood with that girl behind you on your back, the blonde said. Care to tell us what that was about? The black-haired guy said in a hostile way while activating his quirk, making his arms tentacles. Izuku gritted his teeth, fell to his knees for a moment, which flinched to his hurt, the blue-haired girl thought. Tamaki, stop this, he is hurt, she quickly said. Stop being so naive, Nejiya, for all we know he could be a villain kidnapping that girl, Tamaki said. We can't jump to conclusions, but we won't know anything until he tells us, and he can once we take him back with us, the blonde said while getting into a fighting stance. Mirio, not you too, she said. Nejiya stepped towards them to stop them. Izuku saw this as his chance. He grabbed Dawn and quickly ran away. My energy isn't fully healed yet, so I should only use my quirk as an emergency exit, he thought while running. Stop right there! Mirio shouted. Izuku, I'm scared. What will they do to us if they catch us? Dawn asked. I don't know, but I am not going to find out. I won't let them take you, he said. After a while they were stopped by a huge stone blocking the way. SHC, he thought. Please stop running and listen to me, he heard from behind him while quickly turning around. Why could I sense her approach? He thought. I won't hurt you, please believe me, she said with a worried expression. Izuku didn't lower his guard. We can't trust anyone else, only each other, he said. We can't trust anyone else. Especially after everything people did to us. He added while breathing. Nejiya was shocked to hear this, but once she wanted to say anything, tentacles shot past her, grabbing Izuku and the girl on his back. I got them now quick. Tamaki was cut off by 𝐒𝐬𝐽 𝐔𝐬𝐽. He shouted while creating another shockwave from his bow which knocked Tamaki and the running Mirio back. 𝐒𝐠𝐽 quickly flew up outside of the range of his shockwave, but it still reached her, which knocked her out of the sky. After she fell, she saw that Izuku was barely able to get up, but he still lifted the girl on his back and got away. They ran to God knows where but eventually reached a small town. Luckily for them, they found an abandoned house and hid in there to recover. While they were inside, they walked around inside the house and eventually found a closet and found 2 cloaks which he took. Strange to leave a house and leaving cloaks behind, but oh well, it will help us for now, he thought. He put on his cloak and brought the other to Dawn, which also put the cloak on. Let's get some rest, he said to her as she nodded. They just lay on the ground and Dawn snuggling up to Izuku. She looked into his eyes with some tears but then lightly smiled. She then closed her eyes while silently crying as she laid her head against his chest. Thank you for keeping me safe and that you made us escape. Thank you for freeing us from that hell, she said as she then slowly fell asleep. Izuku faintly smiled as he heard that, then placed an arm around her and then fell asleep as well. Izuku looked around himself. He was in a very dark place. Everywhere he looked he saw people hurting him, experimenting on him. But then all of a sudden all that darkness was blown away by a blinding light and he saw Dawn coming towards him. She held out her hand to Izuku, which he grabbed. Then Izuku woke up and looked around. It was all a dream, he thought. Then he heard someone's light breathing. He looked beside him and saw Dawn sleeping against him. Luckily you weren't just a dream. Izuku and Dawn didn't know each other that long. Just a few months, but they got very close in those months, especially because of the hardships they have been through. After everything that happened, they got scared of other people. But even so, Izuku still wanted to be a hero and save others. He didn't want others to die or suffer like they did. I have to get stronger. I need to get stronger to save others, but most importantly I need to get stronger to save Dawn, he thought while staring at her. Then she woke up in panic, looking around with cold sweat running over her. Dawn, are you okay? He quickly asked. She looked at Izuku, then at her surroundings. She then took a deep breath to calm down. We are safe here, he said while holding her tightly. I won't let anyone harm you. After some time Dawn completely calmed down. Let's go, Izuku said softly while standing up and offering his hand to help her get up. Where are we going? She asked. Back to the city. I know we just escaped from people, but maybe if get a lot of information about heroes I can become better and stronger too, he explained. Besides, we will be going to another city and not the one we just escaped from, he smiled. Dawn wasn't so happy about going to the city. All right, but only if you promise to keep me safe, she said with a blush while looking away. With my life, he answered in determination. She then smiled and took his hand to get up. They walked out and went back to the forest. Izuku found a river. He managed to catch some fish and make a fire so they could eat. After that they slowly resumed their walk. After a few hours they found a city, but it seemed familiar to Izuku. Wait, is this? He started but stopped. He got on one knee. Quick, get on my back, I have to check something, he said. Dawn quickly got on his back. Izuku jumped on a roof and then continued to jump from roof to roof towards his destination. Once he got there, I was right. We really are here. He was now looking at his former house where he lived with his mother. What's wrong, Izuku? Dawn asked. This is where I was born and lived with my mom before I was taken away, he told her. Dawn froze and held Izuku tighter. Are you okay? She asked him. When suddenly he jumped towards the apartment, but he saw it was completely empty. He then dropped to his knees and started crying. Dawn got worried and got off his back. Izuku, what's wrong? She asked. Nothing is in here, he said. She looked inside and he was right, there was literally nothing. Well, maybe your mom moved away, she said. Izuku only shook his head. No, this house empty just confirms what I had thought, he said, still crying. What do you mean? Come on, please tell me, she said, placing her hand on his back. My mother is dead, he said while Dawn's eyes got wide. Before I was taken away I heard a loud noise and then my mom telling me to run away, but then I heard another noise, but when I got out of my room I saw my mom on the ground laying there in BLD. I had hoped that it was all just a bad nightmare, but seeing this means it really did happen, Izuku said, now really breaking down and crying. Dawn wrapped her arms around him and started hugging him. I'm sorry to hear that. I'm so sorry about your loss, but you can't give up and you are not alone. You will never be alone because you will always have me, she said, trying to comfort him. Izuku looked up at her, still crying. She looked back and gave him a slight smile. Thank you, he said while laying his head on her chest. Let it all out, big guy, she said while still holding him. But a few moments later they got interrupted by a hero. Don't move. Who are you and what are you doing here? He said, taking the attention of the Dawn, gasped for air while Izuku quickly lifted her in his arms, looking in fear. Even though it was a hero before him, he didn't trust no one else but Dawn, and he still was afraid of people. The doctor was supposed to be good and was supposed to help people even at their most vulnerable time when they were weak and could move. But such a doctor put Izuku through a painful hell. So it wasn't surprising that he trusted no one else anymore. My name is Kamu Woods. I will take you back to the police station now, that you can explain what you were doing here. I saw you jumping from roof to roof, so I followed you to see what you were up to, he said. We're not going, Izuku said while holding Dawn tightly. Dawn was so scared she had grabbed his coat and hid her face in his chest. Sorry, but you don't have a choice. I don't know if you are good or if you are evil, so I don't want to use force if I don't have to, but if you resist then I have no other choice, Kamu said. Izuku stood up and then just vanished from his Kamu's sight. What? Where is he? How is he so fast? He thought in his head. Kamu looked around and saw Izuku from house to house, then landing on the street and running in an alleyway. Kamu Woods, here I am in pursuit of two shady characters, he said, talking in a small communicator which was linked to other heroes and the police. Both are covered in a coat. They ran away when I wanted to bring them to the station for questioning. I am in need of assistance, he added when explaining the direction they went in. Still, what was that insane speed, Kamu thought. Meanwhile, Izuku was still running through some alleys while still holding Dawn in his arms. Don't worry, Dawn, I promised you I won't let anyone hurt you, he comforted her. She loosened up a little and nodded. I think we will be safe here for a bit, he said while sitting down, but he didn't let go of Dawn and Dawn also didn't let go of him. Then all of a sudden a man covered in black with goggles on and a scarf around his neck appeared. Hold it right there, he shouted. Izuku quickly shot back up. The man in black used his quirk as his hair went up and tried to use his capture scarf to take them. What the hell, I can't sense anything anymore and my quirk won't activate, he thought in a little panic. No worries, he thought. He jumped from wall to go up and then quickly jumped on a roof and ran away. What the hell? I disabled his quirk, how did he do that? And how is he still so fast? Does that mean he is that fast all on his own? The man thought. All right, we have to go somewhere where they don't expect us to be, he whispered to Dawn, afraid someone would hear them. Dawn looked around her and then pointed somewhere. What about there? It looks secure and I don't think anyone will look for us there, she said. Izuku then noticed where she pointed. He saw 4 giant buildings in blue. Wait, is that, he thought. While they slowly got closer, his suspicion was confirmed. Yeah, they will never find us here, he said, then used his quirk in his legs and jumped towards one of the buildings, landing on the roof. We are safe here for the time being, although I hope no one saw us, he said. Do you know this place then? Dawn asked. Even though she pointed the place out, she didn't know where she was. Yeah, and it might be a lucky coincidence, he said with a light smile. How so, she asked. Because this is a hero school. And what's a better to gather intel on quirks and tactics than a school for heroes in training, he said. True, but we still have to get down sometimes for food and such, she said. Yeah, that's true, but still we can stay here for a bit till they stop trying to find us, he answered. He slowly walked towards the side and looked down. Everywhere he looked he saw children walking inside the school. It looks like no one saw us, everyone is just acting like they didn't see someone fly towards a roof, he joked, which made Dawn giggle a bit. You should take a rest, though you have been through something very emotional and then even ran with me on your back from 2 people, she said. Maybe you're right, he said, walking back to her while laying down. Dawn sat next to him. Now take a rest, I will keep a close eye out for. If anyone comes up here, and I will wake you up if I notice something, she said. Izuku smiled and closed his eyes to rest. Dawn looked at Izuku and patted his head. She felt so safe with him. It was quiet outside, the sun was up and it was nice and warm. I'm glad we are free from that hell, she thought, wondering how she even survived those few months. Although I have nothing to complain compared to Izuku, I have been there for a few months and every day I felt like I was about to die. But 𝐒𝐿 had been there for years long before I even came there, and even so he was still holding on, she thought. She pulled up his sleeves and saw scars from his shoulders down to his hands. Then she remembered the most recent scar on the left side of his chest. She also knew he had some on his back as well as on his stomach and sides. He was really put through torture, but he always protected me, she thought. If it wasn't for him, I don't think I would be here right now. Then all of a sudden 𝐒𝐿 shot up in panic with cold sweat. Calm down 𝐒𝐿, it was just a dream, she comforted him. 𝐒𝐿 looked at her in a sad way. I held something back from you, he said in a guilty tone. Tell me, she said in a soft tone which took 𝐒𝐿 by surprise. He thought she would be mad at him, but she isn't. It's my fault you were also taken to that place, he said. What do you mean? Dawn asked in confusion. I was trained to be ruthless, but I never killed anyone. When I got mad enough at villains, I placed them to near death but never actually killed them, and this angered the professor. I still had too much emotion, he explained. Then you came, he looked at her. Even though they experimented on you and put you through all that hell, it was all so we would get closer. Eventually they wanted me to kill you to see if I had lost my emotion and killed someone innocent. As you know, I could do it. The professor's plan was for you to die all along. He explained, which took Dawn by surprise. She looked terrified. He thought that if he killed the person closest to me after all those years of torture, then I would break, lose my emotion and be ready to kill. He was right about that, but I rather die protecting you than lose you, he said. So me being there was all for you to become emotionless and to make you a killing machine to their orders, she asked. 𝐒𝐿 nodded. She then hugged 𝐒𝐿, which took him by surprise. Aren't you mad at me? It's my fault you got taken there. He asked. I'm not mad. Even though I was put through all that, I met you and you protected me. I was all alone before they got me, no friends or family. I lived on the streets barely surviving, but even so I met you, and even after that hell I still gained something good. I have you in my life, she explained. 𝐒𝐿 hugged her back and both of them dropped some tears. After a few hours on the roof, the sun was slowly going down. I think we can get off now, 𝐒𝐿 said. Dawn nodded. She got on his back again as he shot himself to a smaller building and from there to a smaller one, slowly getting down like that. But they stopped around a shopping district when they heard explosions coming. He quickly ran towards the side, placed Dawn down and looked over the edge. He saw a giant sludge monster holding someone. When 𝐒𝐿 looked around, he saw that the heroes weren't able to save the kid. I have to help him. I still want to be a hero, and even though humans can't be trusted, I can't let them die, he whispered. Dawn placed her hand on his. Save him, but don't get hurt and come back quickly, she said. 𝐒𝐿 got up, launched himself down, landed, quickly grabbed the kid, punched the villain, dropped the kid and jumped back up. All in the blink of an eye. Wow, Dawn said while seeing 𝐒𝐿 behind her while the kid was being treated and the sludge villain being taken away. Strangely, Dawn was able to see 𝐒𝐿 move at that speed. Little did they know someone else saw this as well. Let's go quickly, 𝐒𝐿 said. He lifted her on his back again and quickly jumped away. That's strange, he said. What is? She asked. I could be imagining things, but someone is coming at the same way as us in a high speed. I didn't think anyone other than you was able to follow my movements, he said. He then quickly landed on the street and ran inside an alleyway and hid with Dawn. Suddenly a big muscled man with yellow hair landed where he did as well, checking his surroundings. Please come out, I have no reason to hurt you, I just want to talk, the man said. When 𝐒𝐿 looked, he saw the person standing there. All Might was standing there, and to his surprise Dawn also knew the man, but even though he was the #1 hero and the symbol of peace, they didn't trust him. What do you think? You feel anything from him? Dawn asked. I don't feel any murderous intent or anything even close to that. It's up to you. Do you want to hear what he has to say? He asked her. He followed us all this way without any bad intentions. Let's hear it, but once he does anything suspicious, we should get out of here, she said. With that, 𝐒𝐿 placed Dawn down and slowly walked towards All Might. Dawn hid behind 𝐒𝐿's back as he said, so he could protect her if anything would happen. All Might noticed them coming, but also noticed they were tense and awkward. Is it okay if I turn towards you? He asked. It was a weird question but put 𝐒𝐿 a little bit more at ease. Yes, he answered. All Might turned towards the two covered in their cloaks and the caps from the cloak on their head. All Might put his hands up. I'm not gonna do anything, I am just here to talk, he said. If you give me the chance to follow you to the alleyway I can put you more at ease, but if not that is all right too, he said. Izuku nodded and slowly walked backwards, not taking his eyes off All Might. Once All Might was in the alley too, smoke came from him as he transformed back to his skinny form. This shocked Izuku. What do you think you are doing? Izuku asked in confusion. Showing that I trust you, not attacking me, and showing my real form, he answered. I heard from the hero known as Eraserhead that he was chasing someone in a cloak earlier, and even though he used his quirk to disable the cloaked person's quirk, that person still got away while being extremely fast. He explained. So that was Eraserhead back there, Izuku noted in his head. And then back there you saved that kid while no one else could. I was at my max for my muscle form, so I couldn't do a thing. I forced myself in that form to follow you to talk. Even though no one saw what happened, my eyes just barely someone in a cloak saving the boy and then jumping back on the roof, he said. Why are you in hiding? You are so strong and so fast. All Might kept going on. You don't seem like villain, otherwise you wouldn't have saved that kid back there, he said, waiting for a response. He started when Dawn grabbed his back. I wanna go, she whispered. He heard she was crying. He knew she was afraid to be around others, and even so she forced herself with him to be there with him, but also All Might. Sorry All Might, I can't stay. We can't trust anyone other than each other, he said while holding Dawn from behind his back. Don't worry, your secret about that form won't be spilled, but we can't trust anyone, he said while lifting Dawn in his arms and jumping away. All Might didn't know what to think but slowly went back. We have to make sure those kids have a place to stay and to trust us somehow. I don't know what they have been through, but it's obvious someone did something terrible to them which made them like that. Even so he still saved that boy. The more All Might thought about it, the more confused he became as he slowly went back to his apartment. Izuku and Dawn were sitting by a river. Izuku managed to catch some fish again and warmed it up while slowly putting out the fire after the fishes were ready. Dawn quickly got closer to Izuku as she was scared. Don't worry Dawn, I keep sensing the surroundings, so as long as no one is coming you can relax. I told you didn't I will keep you safe, he said, placing an arm around her. She slowly started eating. I also have to apologize to you, he said, which she answered with a confused look. I know you are scared around others after all that happened, yet I made you stay that long around someone else, he said, feeling guilty. It's alright, she said, laying her head on his shoulder. I have you with me. She smiled softly as Izuku smiled back but also felt warm because of her and her smile. I'm glad I got you with me, he said. Same for me, she answered. I'm tired after today. Is it okay for you if I take a nap now, she asked. Sure, get on my back, I will find a place to hide for the night, you just sleep on my back. And so while Dawn slept on his back, Izuku wandered the city to find a place to sleep. He eventually ended up in his old apartment. He took off his cloak, placed it on the ground and slowly laid Dawn on it so she could rest while Izuku kept watch in his torn clothes. A few months have passed since Izuku and Dawn started to wander around the city. Izuku managed to find an empty notebook and started writing information about quirks he saw and tactics heroes used as well as fighting styles. He even managed to think of advantages about quirks as well as disadvantages. He even found ways to counter them. All this amazed Dawn. Although Dawn had been thinking for a while, and it's time to talk with Izuku about it. Hey Izuku, she said, taking his attention. What's up Dawn, he asked. You want to be a hero, right? She asked. Izuku nodded. Well, since you will become a hero, I will become your partner. We will be a team. I know I can only heal using my own energy, but that doesn't mean I can't help you, she quickly said. Izuku looked up in a confused look. To be honest, Dawn, I have been thinking of us as a team for a while now, he said, awkwardly scratching the back of his head with a smile. Dawn had a sparkle in her eyes when she heard this and launched at him to hug him. After some time, Izuku broke the hug with regret. Let's go, he said, helping her stand up. She nodded with a bright smile. They slowly made their way to UA again. They had been watching a certain class for a while now. The class was interesting to Izuku but even to Dawn. It was a class that just started, but even they saw that they had potential, and so they kept watching their trainings to see how they would grow to become heroes. However, earlier they saw that the man called Eraserhead expelled a small diaper guy with ball on his head for having no potential. He also knew that there would be some kind of battle training today at UA, and that would be the perfect moment to see their fighting styles and also more of the quirks. Izuku and Dawn were still walking in hoods with their heads covered so no one would see them, or even recognize them for that matter. They quickly made their way to UA. There Izuku lifted Dawn up and jumped high over the wall. Once landed, he quickly made his way to the training grounds and jumped from roof to roof until he saw the class and All Might. He heard it would be some kind of hero versus villain test, which made him even more excited. Dawn saw this and giggled. He saw that 2 groups of 2 were slowly walking towards a building. "Guess those are the first 2 teams to start," he said to her as she nodded. They quickly got to the roof opposite from the building the exercise would take place in. They could see through the windows what was happening inside. The rest of the class was inside the spectators' room. All Might had seen the 2 in cloaks, but let it be. He trusted that they would interfere in any way. They also didn't attack him when he showed them his true form. All Might was actually kind of interested in them. He wanted to know what had happened to the 2 of them and what made them like how they are now, but even more why they still want to be heroes even after becoming like that. All Might just allowed them to watch and acted like he hadn't seen them and let the training begin. Izuku was quickly taking notes in his notebook from what he saw. How they used their quirks to gather information, and how they used their quirks to fight. "They are pretty good, don't you think?" Dawn said, amazed at how good they were with their quirks. "Yeah, they really are," he answered. After the exercise, everyone regrouped back at the entrance. All Might knew the 2 were interested in the class, although he didn't know why. Still, he knew they were listening, so he told them what the next exercise was gonna be. "Tomorrow you guys will be going to a place called the USJ. There you will be having disaster training with me, Aizawa, the space hero specialized in disaster training 13, and we will have some special guests, but they will be shown once there," he said. All Might's flashback, he saw the big 3 coming back to UA but in pretty bad shape. He quickly ran towards them. "What happened to you?" he asked. Mirio and Tamaki didn't know how to explain it, so 𝐒𝐠 took the lead. "Those screwed up, that's what happened," she said. All Might was surprised. "What do you mean?" he asked. "We actually found a boy and a girl on the run in pretty bad shape. It was obvious that they were scared," she explained, then throwing an angered look towards Tamaki. "I wanted to try and calm them down, but Tamaki activated his quirk. I tried to stop him when the boy ran away. We followed him, but Tamaki then tried capturing them when all of a sudden we were blown away by some sort of energy shockwave from the boy. Although he almost collapsed afterwards, he still took the girl away from us," she explained. "At first we thought that maybe he kidnapped her because she was afraid, but it seemed more like he was defending her and the fear they had was towards us," she added. Flashback, and after that Aizawa told me about his encounter with the cloaked figures, and when I met them myself it all added up. We all encountered the same 2 people. Since All Might knew they were watching and listening in on what the class did, he just let them as long as they didn't do anything suspicious. After the class left for their normal classes, All Might asked Aizawa to come with him to the principal. Meanwhile, Izuku and Dawn went back to their home. "All Might, what is this about?" Aizawa asked. "Just wait till we are at Principal Nezu's office. I have something to share." "They should be there too," he said. After a bit of walking they arrived. "So All Might, what did you want to talk with us about? And what is so important you needed Aizawa and the big 3 here as well?" Nezu asked. "Well, it has to do with the boy and the girl the big 3 saw as well as the cloaked figures Aizawa saw the other day," All Might said, raising everyone's eyebrows. "I heard the encounter from the big 3 themselves. They said a boy was holding a girl on his back. They fell out of a building from high up. The boy had torn clothes and a big wound on the left side of his chest, still bleeding. Then young 𝐒𝐠 told me her ideas on the matter," All Might said, placing his hand on her shoulder. "At first we thought he had kidnapped the girl and was trying to escape with it. They both seemed scared. First I thought it was because she got kidnapped and he was afraid of being caught. But when Tamaki grabbed them with his quirk, the boy pushed himself. He was dropping to his knees before that, but still used a lot of energy to create some sort of energy shockwave to blow us away. Then I realized he was protecting the girl and the fear they had was towards us," 𝐒𝐠 explained. This raised the surprise by Aizawa and Nezu. "I also had an encounter with them. After Kamu Woods told me he was in pursuit of 2 people, I saw 2 cloaked figures. I couldn't see their faces or figures, but I noticed that they were scared, just like 𝐒𝐠 just described," Aizawa told them. Nezu placed a hand on his chin. "While we are on the subject, I have something to tell about them too," All Might said. "The same day Aizawa encountered them, I also encountered them a few blocks away from UA. While saying this, everyone had a shocked impression. The boy saved a student of ours named Katsuki Bakugo. I was at the scene yet I couldn't do a thing because of my limit, but in the blink of an eye that boy shot down from the roof, saved young Bakugo and disappeared. He explained, so we can assume he isn't a villain, 𝐒𝐻𝐻 said. There is more, All Might said. No one really saw what had happened, but I just barely saw him do it and was lucky enough to see the way he left and followed them. Aizawa and 𝐒𝐻𝐻 got wide eyes as the big three was silently listening. I told them that I just wanted to talk with them, and as proof of that I showed them my true form, he explained. Are you insane? What if they attacked you? Aizawa shouted. They didn't. They tried to give me trust even if it was a tiny bit. They were hiding and they could have stayed away. Instead they revealed themselves to hear what I had to say, to show them my respect and to show them I trusted them. I showed my form, but after some time the girl whispered something and he told me in a worried tone that he had to leave and that they could trust anyone but each other, he said. This means they have been through something horrible, but I think there is still hope. They have shown interest in something, he said. And what might that be? 𝐒𝐻𝐻 asked. Class 1A, he answered. All Might, what do you mean by that? Aizawa asked, a bit angry. It seems even though they went through something horrible they still wanna save people, otherwise he would have never saved young Bakugo back there even when he doesn't trust people, so there is no doubt he wants to be a hero, he said. What does that have to do with Class 1A? 𝐒𝐻𝐻 asked. For some time now they snuck into UA and have been watching Class 1A grow, All Might explained. This shocked 𝐒𝐻𝐻. How long has this been? He asked. I don't know. I noticed when Aizawa was giving them their first fitness test they were watching. When I tried to secretly watch too they hadn't noticed me there, but they just sat there watching, All Might explained. How did I not notice them? Aizawa shouted. It's because they didn't have bad intentions, All Might explained. Even today with my battle training they were watching at the training grounds. I noticed them sitting on the roof opposite from where the training was being held. They just sat there watching, he explained. Why didn't you capture them? 𝐒𝐻𝐻 asked. They are still afraid of people, and yet they didn't show any hostile towards them. Maybe if they watch the class long enough they feel like they can trust them a bit more. If I had shot over there they would defend themselves and fight back. Seeing how one shockwave from his energy at a weakened state knocked out the big three. I don't think we want that fight happening at you. Also, if I had rushed them they would fear people even more. That is true, 𝐒𝐻𝐻 said. Now I have something to ask, All Might said. Tomorrow we will be going to UJ. Will it be alright for the big three to come along? This took 𝐒𝐻𝐻 by surprise. Their first encounter with the big three was immediately after what happened to the kids, so they didn't know if they were enemies or heroes. Maybe if they see the big three working with the class they have been watching gives them a little comfort around them, 𝐒𝐻𝐻 said. It might be a good idea. We have to try and help those kids to find the courage to at least trust us. We have to find a way to help them, and if they really want to become heroes UA really is the best place, 𝐒𝐻𝐻 added. Alright, I will allow it, but please be careful, 𝐻𝐻𝐻 said. Can I add something to everything that has been said? Aizawa added. 𝐻𝐻𝐻 nodded. I told you with my encounter with them, but there is something I haven't mentioned, he said. When I found them I erased the kid's quirk, but he was still strong and fast enough to jump from wall to wall and escape before I could even move. His quirk might be strong enough to knock out the big three, but even without his quirk he is strong, Aizawa added, which took everyone by surprise. We have to take this carefully if we don't and end up making an enemy of them. We don't stand a chance, Aizawa said bluntly. What do you mean by that? 𝐻𝐻𝐻 asked. It's true there are some strong pros around here, but we don't even know the extent of his power outside his quirk. For all we know he could take all the pros at Out School on except for All Might without quirk. If he can manage to power up with his quirk then even All Might won't stand a chance, not now that he has been weakened. In short, if we have to fight them we lose, he said. All Might nodded. That's exactly what I mean. If I had rushed them I would have made UA an enemy for them and we would all be destroyed by his power. We have to find a way to save those kids, and I just know that the people in this room together with Class 1A can do that. All Might said. Alright then, 𝐻𝐻𝐻 said. We will go with this plan for now, and with that they all left for home. Izuku and Dawn were talking about what they both thought about everything they saw that day. After that they just went to sleep as they knew that the class would go very early. They both laid down and snuggled up to each other. The next morning, Class 1A together with Aizawa arrived at USJ. Aizawa all of a sudden was reminded of the talk the day before at the principal office and looked around and all of a sudden saw two figures jump towards the USJ dome. Guess All Might was right, he thought, still worried about it all. Izuku and Dawn looked inside from the glass on the ceiling to see inside and what it looked like. Wow, how did they make all that? Dawn asked out loud. I don't know, but it certainly does look amazing. Then they saw Class 1A walking inside. Well, let's see how they are going handle this training, Izuku said while laying on his stomach to watch inside. Dawn laid beside him and laid her hand on his while also watching inside. Izuku held her hand in between his fingers. They couldn't hear what was being said, but luckily they could still see. I guess they are introducing. Dawn said when suddenly. Hey look. Aren't that the 3 people we encountered at the forest when we escaped? Dawn asked. Izuku nodded. Knowing now that they are from UA, I kinda feel bad for knocking them out, he said, laughing awkwardly. Suddenly he felt murderous intent coming from right below them as a portal came out of nowhere showing villains. SHT, they can handle this, right? Those 3 don't seem weak and they have 2 pros there, they should be alright, Izuku said. Dawn nodded. But right after that thought got overshadowed, they are gonna die, he said worriedly. This took Dawn by surprise. Wait, what do you mean? Dawn asked in worry and shock. Look at the portal, he said. Once she looked, she saw 3 figures, a man made of mist, a man covered in hands, and a black muscled figure with a strange beak with brains on top. The last one scared her and gave her a bad feeling. That monster was designed to kill All Might, he told her as she gasped for air. Then they saw Aizawa rushing for the villains with the 3 other heroes behind him. The man covered in hands looked up of laughter but then noticed them there. SHT, he saw us. Izuku shouted. He wanted to take Dawn, but the moment he stood up the mist appeared behind him. I will be taking her now, it said, then disappeared back to the square and threw her between the group of villains. Izuku saw the villains going for her. He quickly broke the glass and jumped down, creating a crater in the ground. Aizawa, the big 3 and all villains' eyes were taken towards the crater as they saw the coated figure standing there, when all of a sudden he vanished from Thee's sight and appeared at the other one that was surrounded by villains. He quickly took the villains out and placed her on his back. They heard her crying, which made them feel bad. You get away from there, those are villains. They came to kill All Might, Aizawa said. Wait, that's the guy from the alley, why is he warning us? Wasn't he after us? And the same for those 3, and she said while looking at Aizawa, and when looking at the 3, 𝐒𝐽 looked towards him, nodded and gave him a smile, then fought the villains. When all of a sudden he heard the villains. Tomura Shigaraki, someone made it outside and is getting the heroes, the mist said. Kurogiri, if your quirk wasn't that useful I would kill you, Tomura said. By the way, you too, Tomura said looking at the cloaked figures. Don't happen to be Izuku and Dawn by any chance? The doctor told us we might encounter you, he said with a sly voice. Dawn now really freaked out as she tensed up on his shoulder and was shaking heavily. Don't worry, Dawn, they won't get us, and I certainly won't let them take you back there, I swear. I rather give up my life than letting that happen, he said, determined. Alright, playtime is over. 𝐿𝐴𝐽 finished the pro and the 3 kids off first. The 𝐿𝐴𝐽 shot towards Aizawa and quickly beated him, breaking both his arms. Stop! Izuku said silently. The 𝐿𝐴𝐽 knocked down Mirio and Tamaki. I said stop. Izuku said a little harder while gritting his teeth. Then the 𝐿𝐴𝐽 went for 𝐒𝐽. Please save them, Dawn said, jumping off his back while crying. This made Izuku move. The 𝐿𝐴𝐽 jumped up towards 𝐒𝐽 and was about to punch her when all of a sudden Izuku jumped towards them and giving a kick to the 𝐿𝐴𝐽's punch, stopping it. This took 𝐒𝐽 by surprise. Izuku and 𝐿𝐴𝐽 both landed. Your name is 𝐒𝐽, right? He said, angry. Even though the anger wasn't directed at her, she felt scared. Why, yes, she said. Izuku nodded. 𝐒𝐽, take a razor head and those other 2 to safety, I will hold this thing off, he said. 𝐒𝐽 rushed towards Aizawa, lifted him up and flew to Mirio and Tamaki, who were able to stand up. Let's get to the others, she said to them all, looking at Izuku. His cap was off his head after that kick. All Might was right, it really is him, Mirio said. Tomura started laughing. Good, about time you showed up, and specially to show your face to others. Now there will be even more people hunting you down. Tomura said. Izuku felt bad about it, but he wanted to be a hero, so he had to save them all, and Dawn also asked him to put him on the ground for a bit. Dawn said to 𝐒𝐽, who was holding Aizawa. This shocked Izuku. Dawn, don't, he said while he countered another punch from the 𝐿𝐴𝐽. I already told you, Izuku, you want to be a hero and I will be your partner, so when you fight evil I heal you and people in need. We are a team, she said, confident. She then healed Aizawa's arms but after that quickly ran away to hide. She is so scared of people yet still overcame her fear to save someone and heal someone. I guess at such moments is the only time she isn't scared. 𝐻𝐸𝐽 thought. 𝐻𝐸𝐽 lifted Aizawa again and quickly made her way back to the others while being followed by Mirio and Tamaki. He really is strong. Aizawa regained consciousness but couldn't move. We were right. If he was our enemy we would get destroyed but he is still holding back. Aizawa said looking at the fight. Now 𝐿 ignore the kid and kill the girl. Tomura said. After hearing this something in Izuku snapped and Aizawa felt a chill running down his spine. Place me down at the top of the stairs. I wanna watch even if I can't move. Something is happening to him. He explained as 𝐻𝐸𝐽 set him down. Everyone in class 1A joined them at the top of the stairs and watched. Sir, who is that? A boy with red hair asked. I don't know but right now he is saving us all, Aizawa said. Suddenly they saw the 𝐿 move again but to their fear they saw 𝐿 going for the other person. Dawn. When the 𝐿 reached her he was about to punch her but before he could land it Izuku was standing in front of him and stopping his punch with one hand. This shocked everyone, heroes and villains. Are you okay? Dawn. She nodded. Yes, thanks to you, she said. Izuku now went on the offensive as he dealt heavy blows to the 𝐿. It was designed to kill All Might as it had shock absorb and hyper regeneration. That didn't stop Izuku as he amplified his power with his quirk. He used his energy to raise his speed and power. He gave a powerful roundhouse kick to the 𝐿's stomach while following up with an uppercut, launching 𝐿 up in the air while then throwing a shockwave through a punch towards 𝐿, crashing him in the wall. However, 𝐿 didn't seem to have a scratch on him. Damn it, my attacks really aren't working, he said. He quickly stood in front of Dawn. Get on my back, that way I can keep it smaller, he said. She jumped on his back as she knew what he meant. What is he doing? Mirio thought out loud. Then they saw the 𝐿 launching towards Izuku and Dawn. Izuku quickly created a barrier around them as shield with his energy. The 𝐿 began giving heavy hits on the shield which made Izuku drop to a knee. Every hit took some of his energy. They were all seeing it happen but knew they could do a thing. Then the door broke open and All Might charged in, running towards the students and Aizawa. Are you all okay? He asked. Yeah, but Aizawa has his arms broken. Mirio said. I don't, he said, taking them by surprise. I did have my arms broken but that girl healed me, he said, pointing at the two inside the shield shielding themselves from 𝐿. You were right, All Might, they do wanna become heroes. If it wasn't for them we would have been dead before you got here, but you have to help him. It seems like that barrier takes a lot of energy from him, especially with those heavy hits he already dropped to his knees, Aizawa explained. All Might nodded and charged at the 𝐿. He immediately threw a punch at the 𝐿 to push it away from Izuku and Dawn. Izuku now dropped his barrier and fell to his knees breathing. Izuku, are you okay? Dawn asked in a worried tone. Don't worry, Dawn, I'm alright, just need to catch my breath, he said. Young man, you rest here, I got this, All Might said while walking towards the 𝐿 as Izuku just glared. Also, I wanna thank you. Thanks to you everyone is safe and doing well, and thank you too, young miss, for healing Aizawa. After he said that, Dawn completely hid behind Izuku again. All Might was now standing face to face with the 𝐿. He then gave a gut punch and an uppercut, but it didn't even leave a scratch. Don't bother, 𝐿 is designed to fight you at your prime 100%, Tomura said. It has multiple quirks called shock absorb as well as hyper regeneration. The only way you can beat it is if you cut his flesh off or burn it so it can't regenerate. With that, All Might lifted the 𝐿 up and slammed it backwards into the ground. Or so that was the idea. The moment All Might slammed the 𝐿 into the ground, Kurogiri opened a warp, making 𝐿 go through it and opening up behind All Might's back and pierced All Might's side with his fingers. Izuku charged in and kicked 𝐿 in the face, actually breaking its neck, knowing it would heal itself, but that did leave his grip a bit loose on All Might so he can escape from his grip. Thanks, that was a close one, All Might said while Izuku just nodded. You can't beat that thing, he bluntly said, taking All Might by surprise. As I have witnessed your true form, that made it all too clear you have weakened quite a lot. This thing can take you head on in your prime, so at this moment you don't stand a chance alone, he added. I hate to admit it, but you are right, he said. You saw me move at the sludge villain, right? Think you can keep up? This took All Might by surprise. I'm not the #1 hero for nothing, you know, he joked, which placed a light smile on Izuku's face. This doesn't mean I trust you, it's just we won't beat this thing one-on-one and I have to protect her, he said, looking at Dawn, who was worried. All Might noticed this. Don't worry, she will be safe. After hearing those words, Izuku's eyes got wide. They both launched themselves at 𝐂𝐵 as they both threw a barrage of punches at 𝐂𝐵. At first it looked as if the 𝐂𝐵 didn't take any damage and was absorbing it, but then dozens of punches later they started noticing that their punches were having an impact on 𝐂𝐵. But 𝐂𝐵 didn't go down without a fight. He pushed them both away, then hit Izuku up in the air. He quickly jumped up and threw Izuku into the ground. 𝐂𝐵 tried to punch him again to finish it, but All Might threw a punch on the brain of the 𝐂𝐵, making it howl in pain. All Might went over 100% through an insane barrage of punches at 𝐂𝐵. Tell me, villain, have you ever heard of those words? Go beyond, he said while backing up his right arm plus ultra. He threw his punch at the 𝐂𝐵, launching it through the roof miles away. While All Might did finish the 𝐂𝐵, he was at his limit. Just standing in his buff form was all he could do. The villains noticed this. This is the day you will die, All Might Tomura shouted. But as they advanced, Izuku casually walked up in front of All Might, who had steam coming off of him. Before the villains got any closer, he put up a barrier to protect him, All Might and Dawn, so the villains couldn't reach them anymore. At that moment the pros came in and they saw what had happened, how All Might had steam coming off him, and how Izuku placed a barrier to save All Might from the villains. Nezu knew that Izuku knows about the steam and the weakened form. You were right, All Might, he thought to himself with a smile. Snipe then shot a few quick bullets at Tomura, shooting through his arms and legs before Kurogiri helped Tomura escape. This scared Dawn as she quickly ran towards Izuku and held his shirt. Then Izuku realized that his coat was gone, now fully revealing him with torn clothes. He quickly placed an arm around Dawn and wanted to jump away, but looked at a smiling All Might in now half skinny half muscle form. Then he looked towards the class, running up to them with the teachers. Damn it, now I got no choice, Izuku said while grabbing All Might as well. He broke down the barrier and jumped out. This took everyone by surprise. But mostly it raised a question. What was he planning with All Might? They all thought. Izuku jumped off the dome on the backside, laid down All Might on his back. Hold still, he said while placing a hand on his chest. Dawn got to the other side, healing the wound in his side. Izuku, however, began channeling energy in his hand and then shot it inside All Might's chest, taking All Might by surprise. After that, Izuku began breathing heavily. What did you just do? All Might asked in surprise. Keeping my promise and repaying you for saving us, he answered. Repaying I can understand, but what do you mean keeping the promise? All Might asked. Look at your arms, he said. Then All Might noticed he was in his skinny form. If I left you there they would see it, he answered. Thanks, but what did you just do on my chest? He asked. Try going into that muscle form, Izuku then said. All Might stood up and got in his muscle form without any trouble. It felt like he hadn't even used his muscle form at all in the day. Now that I gave you my remaining energy, you can stay in that muscle form till your time limit so no one will find out your secret. And with that I also repaid for you saving us, he said while trying to get up but falling to his knees, but before he fell All Might helped him up. When he got up, Dawn ran towards him, placing his arm around her. Let's go, Izuku, before others notice we are still here, she said. Yeah, let's go, he said while they slowly ran away. Izuku, right? All Might asked. They stopped for a bit and Izuku nodded. Thank you, All Might said. And with that they ran away. All Might quickly got to the front, showing he was safe and in his muscle form, this taking the big three, Aizawa and Nezu, by surprise. Weren't you at your limit? Aizawa whispered so the students would hear. And didn't you have a wound at your side? He asked. All Might nodded. Those kids helped me. The girl healed my wound at the same time that boy gave me his energy to stay in my muscle form for a few hours, he explained. She also healed you, didn't she? Looking at Aizawa. Yes, my arms were crushed but she healed it. I heard her saying something like the boy. Izuku, I think, wanting to be a hero and that she would help him by healing him and others in need, and that they were a team, Aizawa said. Well, it seems you two made the first positive encounter with him, Nezu said with a smile. I dare even say he even trusts you a little, All Might, he added looking at All Might. I hope so, he said. Nejaya joined in on the conversation. He also trusted me enough with Aizawa, he told me to grab him and Mirio and Tamaki and join the others, she said. That's good to hear, Nezu said. To be blunt about it, If he hadn't shown up, we would have all been dead before All Might would have shown up, and then he would have been killed too. He really saved us. That kid really is strong. He held his own against that 𝐿𝐵 thing, but it drained his energy fast, 𝐈𝐴𝐴 explained. Suddenly they heard an explosion 3 streets away from the USJ when they suddenly saw a body of someone flying their way. Landing on the ground at their feet was 𝐵akugo. Young 𝐵akugo, what happened? He asked. 𝐵akugo extended his hand. Wait, come back. Izuku, he said while passing out. All Might quickly went towards the place where the explosion was. When he got there, Izuku was down on the ground while Dawn was healing him. What happened here? He asked, worried. Stay away, she said in tears. Someone just rushed at us, I got scared. And Izuku tried protecting me using the last of his energy to push the guy away, she said, crying. Izuku tried to get up but could barely move. Do you trust me for this once? All Might asked the girl. I don't know, she said. Just breathe this once, Izuku said. Are you sure, Izuku? She asked. Yeah, if he wanted us dead or captured he would have done it earlier, so for just this once I will trust him, he said, grabbing her hand. If you don't, then he has to stay away and I will protect you, he said, comforting her. All Might didn't move until they both agreed. All right, just this once. For Izuku's sake, she said. All Might walked towards them. All right, I am gonna pick you guys up now and bring you home, he said. Izuku didn't let go of Dawn as he held her in a hug. She was shaking like crazy out of fear. Poor kids, they really had it rough, he thought. Izuku patted her head. It's all right, Dawn, I'm here and I will never leave you, he said. This made her calm down a bit. Izuku told them where their house was, as it was an apartment without anything in it. So they have been staying like this for so long. He asked himself, remembering the first encounter 𝐈𝐴𝐴 had with them. He opened the door and laid them inside. They saw him leave and then they both fell asleep. When they woke up, however, they saw a large bag in front of them with a card. Here are some clothes so you two can get changed. There are also some blankets to keep you warm while sleeping. It's not much, but I hope it helps. All Might, it said. Thank you, they both said, even when they knew All Might wouldn't hear it. All Might quickly got back to school. He heard 𝐵akugo was taken to Recovery Girl's office. He had no real injuries, just knocked out from a powerful energy shockwave. So 𝐈𝐴𝐴 care to tell us what happened? All Might asked when all the teachers were in the same room. Then the big three walked in. Why are you guys here? All Might asked. Because I have also been unconscious for some time and they were still awake, 𝐈𝐴𝐴 said. He then explained how some villains raided the 𝐒𝐻 and all of a sudden the villain called Kurogiri disappeared while reappearing with a child in a coat. Her name was Dawn, I think. At least that boy called her that when she got closer to us. He knew how scared she was of people, yet she still healed 𝐈𝐴𝐴, 𝐿𝐵 said. The boy is called Izuku, All Might said as they nodded. They had heard that name as well. They then explained how Izuku was holding his own against 𝐿𝐵 blow after blow and even pushing it back when he got serious. Wait, he is that strong? MIC asked while Ectoplasm and Midnight were shocked to hear that, as they knew All Might didn't really stand a chance against it. So our suspicion is true then. The boy can really generate power exceeding All Might, even if it is for a little bit, as it took a lot of energy out of him, I heard 𝐿𝐵 stated. It's a miracle he could move at all, 𝐿𝐵 said. After hearing how worn out he was after producing such strength and then keeping up a barrier to shield from that 𝐿𝐵's barrage of attacks, then even fought 𝐿𝐵 together with All Might just to give All Might his energy to keep his secret, 𝐿𝐵 said. We owe a lot to Izuku now, he really saved us, 𝐿𝐵 added. Also, All Might sir, it looks like they trust you a little bit now, don't they? 𝐿𝐵 said. 𝐿𝐵. How do you dash? I was following you after the boy fell down and saw you talking with them and how they said they trusted you for this once, she quickly explained. Is that true, All Might? 𝐈𝐴𝐴 asked while 𝐿𝐵 looked at All Might in a serious way. All Might nodded. It's true, they did allow me to help them this once, as Izuku wasn't able to even get up anymore. Although the girl was very scared, the boy just comforted her and she calmed down a little. I took them to their place so they could rest up. That's good, now let's go get the kids then. MIC stated. No we don't, 𝐈𝐴𝐴 said. Why not? We now know where they are staying, why not talk to them? MIC asked. If we go there, no, we betray the trust they placed in All Might, and if we do, we also make us their enemies, 𝐈𝐴𝐴 explained. I'm sure they will be watching us again and our class, and I have no doubt we will interact with them again. He added. You're right, at least the first step now has been made. They trusted one of us and went through something major with some of our students and teachers that will create a slight bond, 𝐒𝐻𝐻 said. Would be nice if we could get them into UA and make them legal heroes, Midnight said. Let's hope that becomes the case. For now we should all go home and take a rest, 𝐒𝐻𝐻 said, and with that they all left for home. After the 𝐒𝐻𝐻 incident, UA gave the classes 2 days off to rest up and calm down after what had happened. Many of Class 1A were still wondering who the two people were protecting them, while others were just glad it had ended. After those 2 days off, school went on like normal again, and Izuku and Dawn kept watching them every day like normal. Now a week had passed and it was time for the sports festival. They had all been training like crazy to compete in it. Everyone was really hyped up while everyone slowly gathered up at the arena. Izuku and Dawn made it on top of the roof of the stadium to watch from above. This should be fun to watch, Izuku said, while Dawn just laid her head on his shoulder with a smile. They felt so safe around each other. They also felt good by being close to each other. They would both rather die than lose each other. All of the first years were now standing in the stadium while the hero Midnight announced the first trial. Basically it just was a race with 3 real obstacles. That's gonna be interesting to see how they are going to use their quirks to gain speed advantages, Izuku said, placing his hand on his chin with a slight grin. You are cute when you are like that, Dawn giggled, which made Izuku blush. But instead of feeling awkward he felt good and warm because of her. Then she lost in a stare at him. You are the most beautiful girl I will ever meet, and it makes me feel good that such a girl likes me enough to stare at me, he teased, which made her blush this time. Then she just threw her head on his chest and hugged him. What is this feeling she gives me, they both thought at the same time. But they were brought out of their thoughts when they heard the race had started. It really didn't surprise them to see that Bakugo and Todoroki up front, and it actually made them laugh that Todoroki made a huge wall of ice keeping everyone inside. Although nothing special happened in the race, they were enjoying it. Todoroki had won the race and Bakugo was a very close second. So in the end Todoroki used his ice for his speed while Bakugo wanted to settle it with a large explosion. Both were clever strategies, he said, while Dawn kept poking his cheek, which made them both laugh. They both went down to find food somewhere. When they got back they were sad that they had missed the cavalry battle, but they knew it wasn't over yet. Midnight announced that the last part would be a 1vs1 tournament by the 4 groups of 4 that made it through. I'm just gonna skip the fights as most of them are the same, except instead of Izuku it's Monama in his place, and Todoroki easily beated him. Now it was time for the finals. Those were some good fights up till now, he said, laying on his stomach with Dawn laying beside him with her head on his arm. She just laid there and eventually placed her head against his, which gave them both an amazing feeling. Now on the right we have Todoroki and on the left we have Bakugo. MIC shouted through his microphone. Start, they heard. With that Todoroki shot a trail of ice towards Bakugo, but he stopped it with his explosion. Bakugo threw some more explosion, but Todoroki knew to avoid them and made an ice wall before the last explosion was about to hit him. This went on for some time when all of a sudden Bakugo started provoking him. What's wrong, Icehot? Why aren't you using your left side? You think I am not worth it to use it? You think you can win with half power? He asked. Todoroki kept silent. Guess the only one really weak here is you, Bakugo said. What did you just say? Todoroki asked angrily. You heard me. You are just throwing this match because the old geezer of yours thinks he can control you once you use that side. But you are your own man. If you use your own quirk then he can't control you, at least not if you don't let him. Bakugo said. Maybe you think that fire is his quirk, but that's not true. It's your quirk and yours alone. With that Todoroki just used his fire. Now this is interesting, Izuku said. This is the first time we see his left side and that fire, and I gotta say. Not bad, he added. Dawn nodded while watching until they heard someone shout Shoto. It was his father. What a creep, Dawn just bluntly said. Which made them laugh. Bakugo and Todoroki both took a stance. Let's finish this, they both shouted at the same time. Todoroki shot some ice at Bakugo, but he avoided it but shooting up with his explosion, then launched himself towards Todoroki. Howitzer! He shouted while Todoroki lifted his left arm to shoot his fire. Impact, and with that Bakugo and Todoroki's move created a large explosion. When the smoke cleared they saw Bakugo unconscious and out of bounds. The winner is Todoroki. Bakugo was then brought to Recovery Girl. She kissed him to heal him. When he was fully healed, he got back to his class, which were waiting in the stance until the winner's ceremony would begin, when all of a sudden they heard a shout. Hold it right there. When everyone looked towards the person that shouted, they saw Endeavor shooting fire towards the roof. Izuku and Dawn had stood up to leave, but Endeavor saw them and thought they were villains. Izuku said before putting up a barrier. It blocked the attack, but the roof broke down as they fell into the stadium. They fell on the ground, but luckily the barrier broke their fall, so they weren't hurt. The teachers saw them and quickly rushed towards them, but saw that the two were already surrounded by heroes. "Alright guys, I know you don't like me on this one, but please follow me on this," Bakugo said. He quickly launched himself towards the center and stood in front of Izuku and Dawn, face towards the pros. Todoroki instantly followed and did the same. The rest of the class soon followed them and gathered around Izuku and Dawn, facing towards the pros. "Shoto, get out of my way," Endeavor said. No one moved a muscle as the teachers were still rushing towards them. Once the teachers reached the field, they saw Endeavor trying to attack Izuku. The moment Izuku wanted to counter it, Bakugo and Todoroki blocked it using Todoroki's fire and Bakugo's explosion. "We won't let you hurt them," Bakugo said. When all of a sudden the teachers joined them and even All Might went to their defense. "Why are you all doing this?" Izuku asked, clearly tensed and on guard. Then Nezu walked a bit closer. "Is it all right if I come closer?" Nezu asked. "Do we even have a choice? The way we are surrounded like this," he said in fear and anger. "But I warn you all right now. If you try anything to hurt her, I will use force to protect her," he said seriously, giving all the pros a cold shiver down their spine. "Your name is Izuku, right?" Nezu asked as Izuku nodded. "My quirk is high specs, which makes my IQ higher than humans, but as you can see I am not armed with any weapons," he said while showing all of his pockets are empty. "So I will ask again, may I come closer to talk to you?" "If you don't want that, then I won't come closer," he said. Izuku looked at Dawn and she nodded. "I don't know why, but I have a feeling something happened to him as well, so that kinda makes him like us." "It certainly makes me less scared of him," she whispered. "Alright, you can come closer on the condition you move back when she gets too scared," he said. "I promise," Nezu said. Nezu slowly walked towards them. "First of all, I want to thank you two from the bottom of my heart for protecting these students back at the USJ," he said. "Well, I didn't really have a choice. They took Dawn, which forced me to make a move. After that I stayed to fight cause even though what happened to us, I don't want others to die, and I will save them when I can," he answered. Nezu looked at them. "You two, you have been through a lot, haven't you?" This flinched. "There's no reason to be afraid. I think I know what it's like, as they used me for many experiments," the principal said. This shocked Izuku and Dawn. They both completely let their guard down for Nezu, and Nezu noticed this. Dawn fell to her knees after hearing that, remembering what happened to her and Izuku. She panicked and started crying. Izuku quickly held her tight and tried to comfort her. Nezu looked at him as if he asked if he could come closer, and Izuku nodded. Nezu now stood directly beside them. "It's okay, you both are safe now," he said, trying to comfort them. Both had a lot of fear in their eyes, especially since they were surrounded by so many people. "You can leave now, we won't let you near them," Bakugo told the heroes in determination. "We will protect them like they protected us," Uraraka added. Even Aizawa took a stance for if he needed to, and then even All Might did, which shook everyone in the stadium but also at homes where people were watching it on TV. The heroes quickly backed away when they saw that even the symbol of peace was ready to fight them if they made a move. Bakugo wanted to walk closer to Izuku, but Aizawa stopped him. "Just wait here for now," he only said. "We are never safe," Izuku whispered. "What do you mean?" Nezu asked. Izuku looked around. "Is there somewhere we can talk away from people? We can't trust people, not after everything that happened. I am willing to tell you, since you have been through something similar. I bet you must have been the same as us, which made us trust you a little." Dawn nodded. "But we won't talk about it here with so many people," he added. "Alright, that seems fair," Nezu answered. "We will go to my office if that's alright with both of you," he asked. "Actually, is there a place where we can talk with a bed? So she can rest?" he said while holding Dawn tight. "We have a nursery here where we can go. There is a small lady who is our nurse. She is recovery girl. She has some beds there. Would that be alright?" Izuku nodded. Nezu asked everyone to make way as Izuku lifted up Dawn in his arms and followed Nezu. But when they almost reached the side of the field, 𝐒𝐿 felt murderous intent, and when he looked he saw Endeavor charging his fire to throw at 𝐒𝐿, but the moment he shot his fire, 𝐒𝐿 quickly got there and kicked him in the gut, which launched him in a wall. Everyone was shocked by seeing how 𝐒𝐿 just defeated the number 2 hero in one hit. He quickly got back to 𝐒𝐿. I'm sorry, I could just sense his murderous intent and he was about to hurt Dawn, he said while looking at the girl. Don't you worry, he had it coming for attacking you. It was self-defense, 𝐒𝐿 said with a smile. They then continued their walk towards the nursery. When they got inside they saw a small woman standing in front of them. 𝐒𝐿 walked in first, 𝐒𝐿 followed. Once inside he laid Dawn on a bed so she could rest. He sat on the side of the bed and kept holding her hand when she slowly fell asleep. Who might you be, young man? The women asked. It's all right, I brought him here to talk, 𝐒𝐿 quickly said. Those kids have been through a lot, they are also the people who saved the class at the USJ. He wanted to talk here so the girl could rest on a bed while we talk. 𝐒𝐿 explained. All right then, I will leave the room to you for now, she said. Actually, 𝐒𝐿 started. You can stay, I don't have a bad feeling about you and you seem harmless, although we don't like doctors, he said. As she nodded. All right then, you can call me Recovery Girl, she said. My name is 𝐒𝐿 and this is Dawn, he said, still holding her hand and looking towards her to check on her every few minutes. So, 𝐒𝐿, sorry to interrupt, but what happened to you? 𝐒𝐿 asked. Well, that's gonna be a long story. You sure you are up for it? He asked. 𝐒𝐿 nodded. Well, when I was 4 I was told that I didn't have a quirk by a doctor, but that evening someone broke into our house. My mother was killed and I was taken away. The people who took me away were working with the doctor that told me I was quirkless, but he told me he lied. I do have a quirk that lets me use my energy inside my body to make me stronger and faster. I can also create barriers as a shield. The bigger the shield, the more energy I use. The same is for holding out that shield, the harder the hits, the more energy it takes. I can also create some sort of force field around others to shield them, but this will take way more energy. And last, I can create shockwave-like attacks if I channel my energy in a punch or kick. I happen to have used a large shockwave from my whole body, but that drains me and after 2 times I can't even move anymore. My quirk also just enhances my body, but I have to train hard to gain the strength and speed as I did, so I won't have to always rely on my quirk to fight. He explained as 𝐒𝐿 was taking mental notes. After they took me to their base, I was injected with another quirk called Reg, and it heals my wounds at a faster rate and my energy as well, making me able to fight for a longer time and healing faster. After that they began training me, teaching me how to fight off opponents and even against multiple opponents. They also trained me to handle pain, but that was just an excuse to torture me. That went on for years, but the ultimate plan of theirs wasn't really working, he said. And what would that be? 𝐒𝐿 asked. They wanted to make the ultimate soldier a soldier without equal, a soldier who would obey every commands and kill without hesitation, but their plan failed. In all this time I have never killed a single person. In their eyes I had too much emotion. And that's where Dawn joins in, he said while holding her hand tight. They experimented on her too to bring her unimaginable pain, but it was all a cover-up so we would get closer. Eventually they wanted to kill her. They thought that if the one person I bonded with got killed I would lose my sanity and my emotion. To be completely honest, they weren't wrong. But when they wanted to kill her I defended her. Eventually we escaped and were chased by 3 people who we now know are students here. He said. Yes, we heard about that. I guess we know the story from there as we heard the statements of Aizawa and All Might as well. 𝐒𝐿 nodded. I'm sorry for attacking those students, but we couldn't trust anyone, he said. Doctors who are supposed to take care of you at your weakest, people who should be able to trust our lives to did horrible things to us, he explained. I understand what you mean, and yet that didn't stop you even if you trust no one else, but hey, you still save people, you are a hero, and so is she, 𝐒𝐿 said with a smile looking at Dawn sleeping peacefully. To be honest, this is the first time she is sleeping so peacefully because we normally always have nightmares about what happened to us. You are also the second person we trusted, but the first to know the story. Well, together with Recovery Girl, that is, 𝐒𝐿 said with a small smile. Recovery Girl got curious. Who is the first one you trusted? She asked. First being All Might. After I gave him my energy and used the last of my remaining energy, I couldn't even stand up anymore. At that point he could do anything to us. take us away, even kill us, but instead he asked if he could come closer and didn't do so until we approved so. 𝐒𝐿 explained. That made me place my trust in him for a moment. Well, that and the death battle we had with the 𝐵𝐻𝐽. Talking about that, why are you so interested in Class 1A? 𝐵𝐻𝐽 asked. How do you? 𝐒𝐿 asked confused. All Might saw you watching the class a few times but decided to let you since you meant no harm, he said. Makes sense, 𝐒𝐿 chuckled. Say, could you get those 3 students for me? 𝐒𝐿 asked. Who are you talking about? 𝐵𝐻𝐽 asked. I only know the girl's name. 𝐵𝐻𝐽, I think. I want to apologize for knocking them out, he said with a sad tone. When suddenly Dawn woke up. Hey there, are you alright now? 𝐒𝐿 asked softly. Dawn nodded. Listen, I told Mr. 𝐻𝐽 everything that happened to us. And this woman knows us well, he said, showing Recovery Girl, and to his amazement she just gave her a hand. My name is Dawn, she said. 𝐒𝐿 smiled at this. We know we can trust Mr. 𝐻𝐽, so if she was allowed to stay in this room by you two, then I know she can be trusted as well, Dawn said while still being scared. You don't have to force yourself, 𝐒𝐿 said, patting her head. I want to be able to trust others like 𝐻𝐽 and Recovery Girl, she said. Well, I guess now is your chance. Then the 3 people we encountered when we got out are coming here. This took Dawn by surprise as she got afraid and started shaking. Don't worry, I asked for them to come. They meant good, but by being in a panic we attacked them and I want to apologize for that, he said while hugging her. She quickly calmed down. All right, but I will stay very close to you, she said, still afraid. 𝐻𝐽 saw all this and saw pieces of scars on 𝐒𝐿's arm and left side of the chest. 𝐒𝐿, before they come, can I ask you something? 𝐻𝐽 asked. Sure, 𝐒𝐿 said. I see you got some scars, is it alright for us to see it? 𝐻𝐽 asked. If you don't want that, we can understand that too. 𝐒𝐿 now looked towards Dawn, who looked sad. I am gonna show them. If you don't want to see, I can close the curtains if you want. 𝐒𝐿 told her. No, it's alright, she said with a slight smile. 𝐒𝐿 stood up and took off his shirt, revealing his scarred body. He had scars over his arms from shoulder to hands. His back was even more full of scars, supposed to be from a WHP. His front had less scars, just a really big one on the left side of his chest and a few smaller ones on his stomach. Those at the front are from Quirk's. He pointed at his chest. This one is from when we were escaping, and those on my stomach are from when they trained me. My back is from a WHP from torture, and those on my arms a mixture of both, he said. When all of a sudden the big 3 walked in and saw the scars. 𝐒𝐿 noticed them staring and quickly putting on his shirt, feeling uncomfortable. Sorry, we should have knocked, 𝐻𝐽 said. You asked for us. Principal 𝐻𝐽, myheroacademia asked. When seeing them, Dawn crawled towards 𝐒𝐿, hiding herself behind 𝐒𝐿, hands around him, holding him tight while she only let her eyes be seen over his shoulder. Yes, this is 𝐒𝐿. He wanted to speak with you, 𝐻𝐽 explained, pointing to 𝐒𝐿 while 𝐒𝐿 observed the 3. myheroacademia wanted to take a step forward, but the sudden movement placed 𝐒𝐿 on alert as he suddenly took a stance to protect Dawn. Whoop, sorry, I shouldn't have moved so suddenly, I mean no harm, myheroacademia said while holding his hand out towards 𝐒𝐿. 𝐒𝐿 kept looking at the guy, slowly loosening up and reaching for the hand. My name is myheroacademia, he said while shaking 𝐒𝐿's hand. And he is Tamaki, he said, pointing towards the black-haired guy who felt shy. And she is 𝐻𝐽, right? 𝐒𝐿 finished the sentence. You remembered, she said in a happy tone, while 𝐒𝐿 nodded. So why did you want to see us? myheroacademia asked. I wanted to apologize to you guys. You meant no harm, but I still attacked you, he said. That blame falls on us for using my quirk on you like that, Tamaki said. 𝐒𝐿, may I tell them what happened to you? If not, then I won't. I rather not want them to know. Not yet, at least it's true. I wanted to apologize for back there, but we can't trust them yet. We trust you because we heard your story is similar and Recovery Girl. Well, I don't know, she felt safe, I think, he said. I mean no offense, but I just can't trust you guys yet, he told them. That's all right, we understand. If you ever do want to talk about it, we are always here, 𝐻𝐽 said in a sweet tone. 𝐒𝐿 smiled and nodded. Suddenly 𝐒𝐿 fell to his knees as he felt drained all of a sudden. Dawn quickly jumped from the bed down to 𝐒𝐿 and holding him with worry. Sorry to worry you, I was on guard ever since we were attacked by that flame guy. I have been using my quirk as a sort of radar the whole time to feel if there was any killing intent, and also slightly having a barrier around Dawn. I just loosened up and stopped using my quirk, he explained. Which calmed them all down. Maybe this time you should lay down. Dawn told him. I am fine, he said, smiling at her. No, you are not, you are drained, you have to rest. And I will stay by your side. Dawn said. All right then, he said, slowly getting up. After that the big three said bye to Izuku and Dawn then left. Izuku now laid on the bed and Dawn laid by his side, snuggling up to him, hugging each other. I'm sorry about all this, Mr. �NEZU, Izuku said. It's no problem, child, he said. You can call me Izuku, he said. This made �NEZU smile. Thank you for trusting us, �NEZU said. Izuku now fell asleep while Dawn kept watching over him and holding him. You two care much for each other, that's something that's obvious, �NEZU said to Dawn as she nodded while gaining a bit of a blush. You like him, don't you? �NEZU said bluntly. What? Dawn said, blushing madly. Caring for each other after what happened to you two is normal, it makes you closer, he explained. She nodded. Yes, I won't be closer with anyone else than him, she admitted. But when I see you two looking at each other, I see more than just trust. You look at each other with love, he said. Love? So that's this feeling I got, she said. I guess I do love him, yes. I feel safe when I am with Izuku and I rather die than lose him. And even when I am scared and panicked and shaking heavily, Izuku always manages to calm me down, she said. This made �NEZU and Recovery Girl smile. After a while, Izuku woke up again and sat with his back against the wall to face �NEZU and Recovery Girl. Dawn sat next to him with her head on his chest. When they saw this, it warmed up their hearts. So �NEZU, sir, I have to ask, Izuku started. What will happen to us now, he asked. You two want to become heroes, right? �NEZU asked. They both nodded. What do you two think about joining UA? You can study here as well as train your quirks and eventually become legit heroes, he said. We can also give you a place to stay since we started with dorms after that USJ incident. Izuku and Dawn looked to each other. Sure, but we still can't really trust other people and we would have to be inside a class with people we know nothing about. That kinda scares me, Dawn said while holding Izuku tightly. Well, you two will be placed inside Class 1A if you accept. You have been watching them for a while and even saved them at the USJ. You also know the homeroom teacher Aizawa as well as another teacher, All Might, �NEZU explained. I won't force anything on you, but we would be happy to help you in any way we can, he said. Izuku placed his head against Dawn's head. I will leave this decision up to you, he said to her. If you are fine with it then so am I, and if you decide you don't want it then that's okay too, I stay with you no matter what, he added. Dawn loosened up a bit. All right, we accept, on the condition I can stay with Izuku, she said with a slight blush. �NEZU noticed she asked that because of what they went through but also because of their feelings for each other. All right, you two will share a room. As for the class, of course you will stay in the same class, �NEZU comforted them. They both looked happy and hugged each other. We are going to become heroes, Dawn said with tears in her eyes. All of a sudden she broke apart from the hug and stared in his eyes when all of a sudden he placed a kiss on her head. This made her blush madly, but she liked it. You know, I heard that little talk you two had, Izuku said. This made her blush even more. I feel the same as you, so don't worry, he said. Well, that's good news then, �NEZU said while he and Recovery Girl smiled. Do you want to meet the class now? Or do you want to meet them at the dorms? �NEZU asked. I rather want to see them here first with you and Recover Girl here, they both said. As they nodded, Izuku got to the side of the bed and Dawn joined him. He placed an arm around her while she laid her head on his chest again. Are you sure you are up for this? Izuku asked, knowing how scared she is. As long as you hold me I will be fine, besides I trust Recovery Girl and �NEZU and especially you, she said while kissing him on the cheek, then laying her head back on his chest. After some time the whole class arrived and knocked. Dawn tensed up a bit but Izuku just held her tighter, which calmed her down. Class 1A was there together with All Might and Aizawa. Guys, I want to introduce you to Izuku and Dawn. They will be joining UA and your class from now on, �NEZU introduced them, when all of a sudden Bakugo took a few steps forward. So it really is you, Izuku? Who are you? He asked. Well, it's not surprising you don't remember me, we were only like 3 to 4 years old back then. I'm Katsuki. Bakugo. Izuku's eyes got wide. I remember now, he said in a sad tone. I heard you had disappeared. We also heard about your mother, he said, which brought tears to Izuku's eyes. We were worried about you, he said, now having tears himself. Well, here I am, 𝐒𝐿 said while scratching his head. Then the class noticed the girl he was holding. She was very scared and was shaking. 𝐒𝐿 started calming her down, placing her legs over his while holding her close to him. I'm sorry we couldn't trust anyone, even though we don't trust that many people, only 𝐒𝐿 recovery girl and All Might a little, he explained. But since we will be sharing a dorm and a class, I guess you should know about what happened to us and why we are so scared of other people. With that, 𝐒𝐿 explained the whole story again like he told 𝐒𝐿. Everyone was shocked, while Bakugo even fell to his knees crying. You have been through all that and still survived, while still wanting to be a hero, he said. That also explained your rage at the USJ against the villains and why you two were so scared, Uraraka said. Then all of a sudden Aizawa and All Might walked up to them, getting down to their knees. Dawn, we want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts, Aizawa said while All Might nodded. She looked towards them, still afraid but less tense. You healed us back there and we are grateful for that, they told her. She just nodded and hid her face inside 𝐒𝐿's chest. I'm sorry, she really is scared, certainly after knowing the truth that she was only brought to me to be eventually killed. Luckily I stopped that, 𝐒𝐿 said. 𝐒𝐿 then jumped up, placed Dawn behind him while taking a fighting stance. What's wrong, 𝐒𝐿? 𝐒𝐿 asked as everyone backed away in shock. Someone with murderous intent is approaching, he said while suddenly the door shot open with an angry Endeavor. You little brat, you are going to regret that, he said while throwing a punch towards 𝐒𝐿. 𝐒𝐿 stopped him with one hand and wanted to punch Endeavor back, but the moment he pulled his arm back, Endeavor was sent flying by Bakugo's explosion and All Might's fist. Endeavor, stop this at once or you will fight all of us, All Might said while standing in front of 𝐒𝐿 with Aizawa beside him. TSH was all Endeavor brought out as he walked away. Wow, 𝐒𝐿, you stopped the number 2 hero with just one hand, you have such a strong quirk. Uraraka said. To be honest, I wasn't using my quirk lets me enhance my power and speed, but I only got this strong by training for it, even though it's not really normal, he chuckled. This took everyone by surprise. Bakugo, I am sorry for using my quirk on you after the USJ, it's just we trusted no one. I barely had the energy to walk and then you charged at us. We were scared, he said. It's all right, I understand, especially after what you told us, he said. Well then, with all that out of the way, shall we show you your dorm then? 𝐒𝐿, Dawn. 𝐒𝐿 asked. Yeah, about that, how does it work with food and clothing and money and such? We only have these clothes thanks to All Might and we have no money or food. He said. Money will be provided by UA. With that money you can buy new clothes and food for in your own fridge. It's up to you if you keep that fridge in the common area or in your room, he explained. With that they left for the dorms as the ceremony already ended. Dawn was exhausted after all those that and trying to stand up to her fear. It drained all her energy, so 𝐒𝐿 offered to carry her on his back, which she accepted. With that they all walked towards the dorm as 𝐒𝐿 showed them their room. But before they could enter, another hero showed up called 𝐒𝐿𝐼𝐺. 𝐒𝐿 explained he called 𝐒𝐿𝐼𝐺 to make their room a bit larger and to give them a 2-person bed, and so he did. After all that, they tried to get used to the others of their class and their surroundings. Although they never left each other's side and always held on to each other, they made some small talks with the others, which was seen as a small positive step. After dinner, 𝐒𝐿 and Dawn went to their room as they were tired, but first they each took a shower. After that they both laid in bed. So what do you think about it so far? 𝐒𝐿 asked Dawn. About you or all this, she joked. Both, he smiled. All this, it feels nice having a room and a bed while also being able to take showers and having food. I'm still scared around the others, but with you by my side I can manage it, she said. And about what I think of you, she said with a smile. This should give a hint about it, she said while kissing his cheek. They both blushed but also laughed. She then slowly crawled up to 𝐒𝐿, placing her hands and head on his chest. She then whispered something before she fell asleep. I love you, 𝐒𝐿. He heard those words, and before she fully fell asleep he said, I love you too, Dawn. And with that they both smiled and fell asleep. After 𝐒� and Dawn joined UA and the dorms. Most people of the school definitely showed that they didn't like it. Luckily for them, Class 1A and even the Big Three were thrilled that they became a part of their school. Even though 𝐒� and Dawn didn't speak much and didn't trust the others yet, they did join the class a lot in the common area to get used to them. First day of school for them had started as they sat on the left side of the class. 𝐒� sat behind Bakugo and Dawn behind 𝐒�, but Aizawa had a surprise for him already. 𝐒𝐭𝐚𝐲 started taking his attention. Yes sir, he asked. We know you are strong, but we want to know exactly how strong. Is it alright for you if we test your strength? 𝐒𝐻𝐲 asked. Sure, but how do you want to do that? He asked, a bit confused. Well, I wanted to give you a few fighting opponents if that's alright with you. It might also help you to get closer to your class and opponent, he said. Alright then, that's alright. Did you have some in mind? 𝐒𝐿 asked. 𝐒𝐻𝐲 nodded. Let's go to Gym Gamma, he said. Sure, but give them their hero costumes, 𝐒𝐿 quickly said. This took 𝐒𝐻𝐲's attention. I don't know if I have to fight anyone here, but if I do, I want them at their best, and I think that's with their hero costume, he said. 𝐒𝐻𝐲 allowed it, and so everyone put on their costumes while 𝐒𝐿 put on some normal clothes instead of the UA uniform. When he reached the gym, he saw 𝐒𝐻𝐲, 𝐒𝐻u with Dawn beside him, All Might and the Big Three standing there. Spectators or more opponents? 𝐒𝐿 joked, taking their attention. The Big Three will fight you depending on the first fight. Principal 𝐒𝐻u is here to comfort Dawn while you are fighting, since she still doesn't trust us and he wanted to see your power. And All Might was also curious and wanted to see more from you, 𝐻𝐻𝐲 explained. Seems fair, 𝐒𝐻u sir. Thank you for taking care of Dawn for me for a bit, he said while 𝐒𝐻u nodded with a smile. Alright, so who is my first opponent? He asked. I want you to fight one-on-one with your classmates, all of them at once. 𝐒𝐿 cut 𝐻𝐻𝐲 off, which widened the eyes of 𝐻𝐻𝐲, All Might and the Big Three, while 𝐒𝐻u looked amused. Are you sure about this, 𝐒𝐿? 𝐻𝐻𝐲 asked. I have been trained to handle one-on. They also trained me to fight a group. What better way to show you that by going against a group, 𝐒𝐿 said in a sad tone, reminded of his hell. 𝐒𝐿, Dawn silently said. Don't worry, I'll be fine, he quickly said. After that, the rest of the class joined in. So who is going first? Bakugo asked. I wanted to place you on a 1vs1, but 𝐒𝐿 asked me for you all to fight him at once, 𝐻𝐻𝐲 explained, which shook the class. You sure, man? We aren't weak, you know. Kirishima said. It's not underestimating you, it's just I was also trained to fight multiple opponents, and since that's harder than a one-on-one fight, that would be the best way to show my power, he answered. Alright, everyone get on the field, you can start on my signal, 𝐻𝐻𝐲 said. Everyone took a fighting stance except for 𝐒𝐿. He just took a deep breath. Alright, close combat users surround him quick while the others use their long-ranged as backup, Bakugo said while the others nodded. Start with that. All the close combat users surrounded him as 𝐻𝐻𝐲 shot his laser, 𝐤𝐸 some tape, 𝐴shido her acid. 𝐒𝐿 put up a barrier to protect him from the long-ranged moves. He quickly dropped it and took out Ida, Uraraka, Shoji, Ojiro, and Tokoyami. In the blink of an eye. He was so fast that they didn't even see what he did. This took literally everyone by surprise except Dawn, who just smiled at how strong 𝐒𝐿 was. After that, 𝐒𝐿 took out everyone else at a blinding speed. I'm sorry guys, are you all alright? He asked. Be fair, 𝐒𝐿, Todoroki said. Did you even use your quirk about from that barrier? Bakugo continued it. 𝐒𝐿 looked away with a silent no. This shocked everyone. So I guess my next opponents will be you, he asked, looking at the Big Three. I won't be using that shockwave from back then, he said. Wait, what shockwave? The class asked. I felt it before, Bakugo said, surprising everyone. Even at his weakened state, it was able to knock me out completely, he added. Yes, same for us, the Big Three said. Yeah, and I am really sorry about that, 𝐒𝐿 said, feeling guilty. I won't be using that, he added. With that, Mirio and Tamaki took a stance while Nejaya flew up. Before we start, 𝐒𝐿 said, taking them off guard. Mirio right, looking at the blonde, who nodded. You can slip through things, don't use murderous intent. Even though you need it to fight me, you can't give off murderous intent, he said. Why is that? He asked with a sly grin. Well, why not check out for yourself? 𝐒𝐿 said with a grin. And with that, Mirio reappeared behind him and wanted to punch 𝐒𝐿 in the back of his head, but 𝐒𝐿 dodged it with his eyes closed, and without moving his body, he only moved his head out of the way. This surprised everyone. Then Mirio went back underground when suddenly 𝐒𝐿 launched to his left with a kick. No one knew why until Mirio popped up at that same spot, which took Mirio by surprise. So you know where I am thanks to my intent? Mirio asked. Yeah, thanks to my quirk I can use my energy as some sort of scan while taking a bit of energy, but I can sense murderous intent without using any of my energy, he explained. Alright, time for the real fight then, 𝐼𝐻𝐸 said. 𝐻𝐸𝐽 shot her energy beam at 𝐒𝐿𝐴, who dodged with a somersault while Tamaki tried to grab his legs and 𝐼𝐻𝐸 went underground to attack him. 𝐒𝐿𝐴 dodged it all. When suddenly Tamaki managed to grab his legs. 𝐻𝐸𝐽 shot a full-power energy beam at him while 𝐼𝐻𝐸 launched himself at 𝐒𝐿𝐴 for a punch. 𝐒𝐿𝐴 just grabbed 𝐼𝐻𝐸's punch with one hand, then created a small barrier over his other hand and stopped the energy beam. 𝐒𝐿𝐴 then used his quirk to enhance his power and speed. He grabbed the tentacles around his legs and pulled hard so Tamaki flew towards him. Then when Tamaki got close he punched him in the face, which shot him towards a wall where he collapsed. He quickly went 𝐼𝐻𝐸 and gave a roundhouse kick towards the stomach, but 𝐼𝐻𝐸 endured it, then got an uppercut to the jaw, making him shoot towards the roof. He then quickly created an air slash-like shockwave with his feet towards 𝐻𝐸𝐽, which hit her, but she wasn't knocked out. Then he jumped up and took her out with an overhead kick, launching her into the ground. That's insane, most of Class 1A said. Dawn, can you do me a favor? 𝐒𝐿𝐴 asked. While she nodded. Could you heal them a little bit? I went pretty rough on them, I think, he said awkwardly, scratching the back of his head. Dawn giggled. 𝐒𝐿𝐴 got all three of the students and laid them beside each other so Dawn could heal them a little till they regained consciousness. When they woke up. Man, you are strong, 𝐼𝐻𝐸 said. It felt like being hit by a bomb, he said, laughing. Sorry if I went a bit rough on you, 𝐒𝐿𝐴 said with an innocent smile. Now I guess that's it then, 𝐈𝐻𝐸 said. Not really, 𝐒𝐿𝐴 said, taking everyone's attention. He turned towards All Might. You are the number one hero, right? He asked in a serious tone. All Might nodded. Then this time it's my time to test someone. When 𝐒𝐿𝐴 said this, 𝐈𝐻𝐸's mouth just fell a bit open in amazement. Are you sure about this, young man? All Might asked. If you are the number one hero, then you are the best person to test my strength on. Meanwhile, I want to see just how strong you are. Then he got closer. I also want to know to which extent you have been weakened with that injury, to see if you can still keep Dawn and the others safe when the time comes, he whispered, which made All Might gasp. If you can't do it alone anymore, then I will stand by you. I will become a great hero and protect everyone, especially Dawn, he said, determined. All right then, challenge accepted, All Might spoke up. They both got to the field and took a stance. I will be using my quirk right from the start, 𝐒𝐿𝐴 said. I advise you to not go easy on me and use your 100% right from the start, he said. 𝐒𝐿𝐴, please be careful, don't push yourself please, Dawn said, worried. What's wrong, child? 𝐻𝐸𝐴 asked. He has been using his quirk for some time now with the barriers, and especially when he fought those three, she pointed at the big three who looked at her. He already used up a good amount of energy, she admitted. Then All Might rushed at 𝐒𝐿𝐴 at full power while 𝐒𝐿𝐴 countered with a punch of equal force, which created a gust of wind through the gym. Everyone had their mouths open and wide eyes except for Dawn, 𝐻𝐸𝐴 and 𝐈𝐻𝐸. They expected as much. All Might, is this really your 100%? 𝐒𝐿𝐴 asked while his hair covered his eyes. Yes, young 𝐒𝐿𝐴, it is, All Might admitted. 𝐒𝐿𝐴 gritted his teeth. He's been weakened more than I thought, he thought. 𝐒𝐿𝐴 sighed. All right then, it would be rude of me to hold back then, he said. What? You are still holding back. All Might took a step back. Child, is that true? 𝐻𝐸𝐴 asked Dawn. Dawn looked in a worried way at 𝐒𝐿𝐴, not listening to 𝐻𝐸𝐴. It seems he is right, but seeing her reaction, it means he will use up a lot of his energy in the process, 𝐻𝐸𝐴 thought. 𝐈𝐻𝐸 saw this as well and walked towards Dawn, then got himself a little lower and laid his hand on her shoulder. Make sure you are ready to heal him once this is over, okay? 𝐈𝐻𝐸 said. Dawn nodded. 𝐒𝐿𝐴 powered up more with his quirk. Everyone felt the surge in power and in his presence, while suddenly 𝐒𝐿𝐴 launched All Might, giving 3 heavy blows to the gut before All Might could even move. All Might shot towards a wall but used the wall to jump back towards 𝐒𝐿𝐴. He tried punching 𝐒𝐿𝐴 but he made a backflip, dodging All Might and kicking All Might in the back, which made All Might crash into the ground. Both were now breathing heavily. 𝐒𝐿𝐴, stop please, you have shown enough, don't push yourself like that, Dawn said in a sad way. 𝐒𝐿𝐴 heard her and stopped his quirk. He slowly walked towards her, but halfway he collapsed. Dawn quickly ran towards him and started healing him. All Might was hurt pretty bad, but he was good enough to walk around. He certainly is a strong one. If this was a real fight to the death, then I would have been here anymore, All Might admitted. Izuku awoke again after being healed and saw Dawn sitting next to him looking at him with a worried expression. Thanks for the healing, I'm sorry for worrying you, he said with a small smile. Dawn started hitting his chest. You reckless idiot, you were just to show how strong you are. Not push you till you collapse, she said while still hitting. Hey, that hurts, you know, he joked, making everyone including her laugh. But yeah, you are right, guess I got carried away, he admitted. Izuku, I just wanna say that I am glad we got you on the hero side, Aizawa said. I wouldn't wanna be anything else, he said with a smile. And besides, I can't leave my partner behind and be a hero without me now, can I, he said, patting Dawn on the head. She just pouted with a blush, making everyone else laugh again. Well, you can all go for lunch and we will see you all in class later, Aizawa explained, and so everyone left the gym. So All Might, Principal Nezu, what do you think? Aizawa asked. I have to agree that I am very happy that Izuku is so motivated for becoming a hero, Nezu said. That just leaves me with one question though. Nezu turned to All Might. What did he whisper to you before the match, he asked. All Might looked down. He wanted to know to which extent I have been weakened due to my injury and if I was still strong enough to protect everyone and especially Dawn, he answered. He also told me that if I wasn't, then he would fight by my side to protect her and everyone else, he said. Seems he placed himself with a heavy burden already, Nezu said. While the other two nodded. Seeing his last bit of power, I don't think he liked it, All Might added. What do you mean? Nezu asked. He asked me if my punch really was a 100%, he said. When I told him this was the case, he started trembling a little and gritted his teeth. I could see his eyes, but the power he displayed after. If I had to explain it in terms of percent, it would be 150% if not higher, even though he can't maintain it for long, All Might explained, taking Nezu and Aizawa by surprise. He is really that strong, Nezu said. One thing is for sure, Aizawa said, no matter what happens we must keep Dawn safe. Sure, the others too, but if Izuku is fighting someone we have to protect her, he added. Nezu nodded. If we don't and something happens to her, or if he even loses her, I don't think anyone could stop him anymore, Nezu said. Izuku and Dawn were making their way for lunch, sitting alone at a table. Class 1A had their groups they were sitting with until Uraraka, Todoroki, and Ida came towards them asking them if they could sit with them. They both nodded. You guys feeling alright now? Izuku asked. Yeah, those were some heavy blows, but we will be fine, Ida said, with Uraraka and Todoroki agreeing with a nod. Suddenly a group of 3 years came up. So what are outside some like you doing here? The leader of the group said towards Izuku and Dawn. They just ignored me. Don't you freaking ignore me, he said. That's no way for a hero in training to act. You should be ashamed, Ida stated. Shut up, Four Eyes, he said. All of Class 1A's attention was now at the group standing at the table. I asked you what some like you are doing here, the man shouted, throwing his fist at Dawn. But halfway his fist stopped. When he saw who grabbed it, he saw Izuku standing there, his eyes covered by his hair. Listen, pal. You can insult me however you want. But if you try attacking her one more time, you will see how this some can destroy your sorry, but he said in a way everyone got cold shivers down their spine. You dare threaten me, he said, raising his other face, but before he could make a move he got an explosion to the face. Izuku looked beside him. The man who did it was Bakugo. If you want to get to them you have to go through all of us, Bakugo said. The group looked around and saw the entire Class 1A around them. Nezu and Aizawa saw this. Normally they had to stop this, but this could grow the bond between Izuku, Dawn, and his class. They thought, but if it would get out of hand they would step up. Then suddenly the 3th year clicked his fingers and his entire class walked up. They all took a fighting stance. Aizawa thought while wanting to run in. Wait a second, Aizawa, Nezu said. Don't jump in yet, something might happen, he explained. So you think you newbie first years can take us all on alone, the leader of the group said. No, just me is enough. Izuku took them by surprise. You cocky little brat, he brought out. Then he remembered what angered the boy a lot. Then suddenly he used his quirk on his arms, making W's. My quirk lets me turn my body parts into weapons, he explained. When he tried to WHP Dawn, Izuku now got zest. He grabbed the WHP. Bad move, he said in a threatening tone. He walked up to the guy who turned his arms back to normal. He grabbed his arm and gave a powerful punch to the gut, knocking him out. "Don't ever do that again, because next time you won't be so lucky," he said. After that, the rest of the class wanted to charge him when suddenly Mirio showed up in front of Izuku with his back towards him. "If you try attacking those two even one more time, you will have to deal with Class 1A as well as the big three," he said with a confident grin. "Still think it's a wise idea to continue?" he asked while Nejiya was charging her energy to shoot her quirk, while Todoroki already had ice coming from his hand and Bakugo had little explosions in his hand. The group quickly backed away, taking their unconscious leader away. Izuku turned towards Dawn. "Are you alright?" he asked, placing his hand on her head. She smiled. "Yeah, thanks to you and the others," she said. Izuku smiled. "Thanks you guys," he said. "No problems, we are all friends," Mirio said. "Friends here?" Izuku looked down while whispering, while Dawn grabbed his hand and nodded at him with a smile. This made both of them happy. After that, class continued like normal. Izuku and Dawn slowly opened up to the class and the big three, but they still never left each other's side. School was over and everyone went to the dorms. Everyone from Class 1A was sitting in the common area. Izuku sat on the couch with Dawn on his lap, her head on his shoulder, while having her eyes closed, resting and enjoying the moment while everyone was talking with each other. "So, Izuku, what's the deal between you two anyways?" Bakugo asked. Bakugo normally sweat a lot except for against Izuku and Dawn. He was pretty nice to them. "What do you mean by that, Bakugo?" he asked. "Well, the way you two are right now and how you went into attack mode at lunch," Bakugo explained. "Well, after everything that happened, we cared a lot for each other and we have had some kind of feeling for each other which made us felt good around each other and safe. After the talk at the nursery we had with Nezu, we found out that the thing we felt was love. So I guess you could say we are a couple," Izuku just explained bluntly. Dawn had a big blush on her cheeks with a big smile. "I guess someone agrees with you," Momo said, pointing towards Dawn, making everyone laugh. "Still, you got really scary when someone made a move towards her." "That's because the place we were at wanted to kill Dawn to make me an emotionless killing machine, so whenever someone attacks her I kinda jump into defense mode, I guess," he explained. "I rather die protecting her than lose her," he explained. "I won't let that happen," Dawn said. "We live together or die together," she said, creating a giant tear from the class as all the girls and most guys found it cute. "Is that also why you never leave each other's side?" Bakugo asked curiously. "Oh, never thought of that," Izuku said. "We stayed around each other because we were mostly on the run and we never trusted anyone, but now that we trust someone we still stay close to each other. But to be completely fair, it's not that we can't leave each other's side anymore because we don't trust anyone else. I just don't want to leave her side at this point," Izuku explained, smiling. "Same for me," they heard Dawn say when they looked at her and saw her blush like crazy. They laughed. Bakugo walked up to Izuku to everyone's surprise. "Glad to have you back, man," he said, holding his fist out. "Thanks," Izuku said while fist bumping. "You guys know each other, right?" Kirishima asked. "Yeah, when we were little, Bakugo and I played all the time. We were hardcore All Might fans," Izuku explained. "But yeah, when he became 4 I got taken away and hadn't seen him for years," he explained while Bakugo nodded. "So how come he doesn't swear and call you names like he does with us?" Uraraka asked her. "What did you say, round face?" Bakugo asked. "You see what I mean?" she asked, making everyone laugh. After talking for a while and having dinner, everyone went to bed to rest for the next day. "Today was good," Dawn said. "They are good people," she added while closing her eyes and falling asleep in Izuku's arms. "They certainly are." It was another day at UA. Izuku and Dawn slowly began trusting their classmates and the teachers. They have already gotten used to being around them. Class was actually still ongoing, but since Aizawa was asleep everyone had some free time on their hands and so everyone was just talking. "It's strange everything is so quiet now since after the USJ," Uraraka said. "Apart from the sports festival when we got shot off a roof," Izuku joked. "Oh yeah, my father did that," Todoroki said, feeling a bit guilty. "Don't worry about it, it's not your fault," he said, placing a hand on Todoroki's shoulder, who nodded with a smile. "You really are strong without your quirk though," Kirishima said. "Well yeah, my quirk lets me enhance my power and speed, but I had to train very hard for it to gain it, but thanks to that I can also fight without using my quirk, and since I got a quirk called Regen, my wounds heal a bit faster and my energy gets restored faster as well," Izuku explained. "Dear men, then I don't Even wanna know how a hit feels if you are actually using your quirk, Kirishima said laughing. You are stronger than All Might, aren't you? Asui said. War Asui that came out bluntly, but yeah, I can temporarily become stronger than All Might, he answered. Yeah, I just throw everything I have on my mind, also call me Zu, she said. What do you mean temporarily, Kaminari asked. I can become stronger than him, but maintaining it for long takes an enormous amount of energy, he explained. Suddenly Izuku turned towards the windows onward. What's wrong, Izuku? Dawn asked. Izuku closed his eyes and began concentrating on what he felt and felt someone far away charging his quirk. Izuku opened his eyes. He wouldn't. He started as he felt the energy and murderous intent getting bigger. Wake up, Aizawa, and get the teachers ready. Bakugo, Todoroki, keep Dawn safe for me, he said while running off. Uraraka quickly woke up Aizawa, who was asking angrily what was going on when they quickly explained about Izuku. Aizawa quickly got up and ran to other classes together with Ida as Aizawa went left and Ida right to notify all the teachers. In the meantime, Izuku got outside and felt an enormous amount of energy being charged. Then he felt it coming closer. He saw a huge fireball coming their way. This is similar to Endeavor and Todoroki's quirk, yet different. Although they can use fire, they can't do it to this extent. Izuku noticed the fireball going straight for the building. That's where the 3 years are. They want to take the stronger ones out first. Izuku used his quirk to jump up to the same height as where the fireball was aimed. He found a spot to hold himself so he wouldn't fall. Once he looked inside, he saw it was the class for the big 3. They all looked at Izuku in confusion as they saw Izuku at their window. At the same time, Aizawa barged in and saw Izuku there while also seeing a giant fireball fastly approaching. Aizawa quickly warned Snipe about it as they both ran out of the class to go outside. However, the students hadn't moved yet as they were too confused. Then Izuku jumped without the power of his quirk and created a giant barrier to protect him and the school. Class 1A was standing outside and was joined by the teachers as they saw the barrier surrounding the school. It's too big, Dawn said in worry. What do you mean? Bakugo asked. Izuku noticed the big fireball, but he also sensed a few smaller ones coming up. That's why he jumped. It will take most of his energy holding the shield up to stop the big fireball, but after that the shield will break due to the lack of energy. That fireball is too strong to hold the barrier any longer since the barrier itself protects the entire school, she explained. After she explained it, they saw the impact of the giant fireball crashing into the barrier and the shield quickly fading while Izuku's arms lowered. Then all of a sudden 5 more smaller fireball recade him as they placed solid hits on Izuku instead of the school. Izuku quickly fell to the ground, his upper body scratched from the attacks. All Might quickly caught him and laid him on the ground. Izuku was breathing heavily. Quick, Dawn, can you heal him? Aizawa asked. We don't have time breathe for that. Izuku stood up shaking but with a look in his eyes that explained he was ready to fight. Suddenly a portal showed up showing Kurogiri with a horde of villains. But to everyone's shock, there were also 3 Nomus. They weren't as strong as the one from USJ but still deadly enough that they almost could hold them back. Class 1A began fighting while Todoroki stayed around Dawn and using his ice and fire for long-distance attacks. Kirishima stayed behind as a shield as well while the rest started to fight the horde of villains. All Might was holding off 1 Nomu while Izuku fought 2 Nomus at once when he suddenly got separated from the group because of the Nomu's attacks. We have a surprise for you, Kurogiri said with an amused tone when all of a sudden a portal opened behind him and he got punched in the back. Behind him stood another villain with body parts like muscle fibers. The teachers saw this and wanted to rush to Izuku to help him, but the overwhelming amount of villains held them back. Even All Might was having a hard time. This was their plan all along. Nezu thought, first shoot an energy blast big enough with enough murderous intent so Izuku would notice, then making him use his energy to protect the school and do some damage. They came here to finish him off. Nezu thought. We have to make sure we find a way to break through and help Izuku. This was all a plan to weaken Izuku so they could take him down. Nezu explained. This shocked everyone. But Izuku was already having a hard time. His normal power wasn't enough to hold back 2 villains and fight the villain since his normal attacks didn't work on the villain and he was too weak to use his quirk without knocking himself out. Once they took a glance at his side, they saw that the villain and the Nomu were punching him around. Izuku! Todoroki, Dawn, Bakugo shouted. As Izuku slowly opened his eyes again, he saw that everyone was pushed back by the villains. Everyone. Stand close to each other. I only have one shot at this. You two all might. He shouted. Without thinking they did as he did and gathered all at one point. Then Dawn figured out what he was going to do. Don't do it. She shouted. Then Nezu knew as well. Izuku created a barrier around them, almost knocking himself out. He began screaming, charging every ounce of energy he had, then released it and created a large shockwave to knock the big villain, the 𝐻𝐼𝐽, and most of the villains out. But once he did, he collapsed to the ground and the barrier broke down. They quickly rushed towards him but were stopped by the remaining villains. 𝐭𝐻𝐼 wanted to take this chance to take Izuku, but once he got close, Mirio shot out of the ground, hitting the metal plate that could hurt 𝐭𝐻𝐼, knocking him back. When 𝐭𝐻𝐼 got back up, he saw that the big three were standing around Izuku protecting him. Izuku's quirk Regen healed him enough to regain consciousness and have a bit of energy back, so he tried to get back up. I can't lose here, he said while being in terrible pain. The class and teachers were relieved that the big three were now shielding Izuku, so they quickly took care of the remaining villains. 𝐭𝐻𝐼 quickly warped the big muscled villain and the 𝐻𝐼𝐽 away. This won't be the last you see of us, 𝐭𝐻𝐼 said while leaving. They quickly ran towards Izuku, who fell to his knees. Dawn arrived first and quickly fell to her knees and hugged him. You protected everyone, she said in a worried tone. It isn't over yet, he said and stood up. This shocked everyone. Heal my energy as much as you can, ignore my condition for now, just please heal my energy for now, he quickly said. I would need someone else's energy too, since mine alone won't be enough, she said. Then All Might held out his hand. Give him mine, he said with a smile. With that, Dawn began transferring All Might and her own energy towards Izuku, when suddenly Izuku made them stop halfway. This should be enough to protect everyone, he whispered. Dawn heard this and wanted to stop him. Izuku, don't do it. You are already hurt, she said in worry. Then she saw an even bigger fireball than before at a roof aiming at them. That's too big. It could kill us all, she thought. Please stop that thing, she said silently, but don't you dare die on him, she shouted. Izuku gave her a quick glance with a smile before he jumped to create a barrier at the moment the fireball was shot at them. Those fireballs take a huge amount of energy, and since he already shot a big one with 5 smaller ones, that means this is his last one, Izuku thought. Then the fireball clashed with the barrier, but it didn't explode. This one is sturdy compared to the other one, he thought. It must be the user using his remaining energy to keep the fireball together. At that moment he felt his energy drain extremely fast. Dawn was right, I am too hurt, so my energy drains even faster. At this rate I won't be able to stop it completely, but that means they will get hurt, he thought. He then aimed one hand at the group, slowly creating a barrier around them. He wouldn't. Aizawa started. But once the barrier was made, he broke down the bigger barrier and the fireball clashed against Izuku, who desperately tried to stop the fireball with his hands. But he had no sturdy ground, so he was pushed back easily until he felt something push against his back. 𝐻𝐼𝐽 was keeping Izuku steady so he could stop it. However, Izuku was slowly losing consciousness and his strength. 𝐻𝐼𝐽 noticed this. Don't give up, Izuku, she said. Then all of a sudden someone shouted, push that thing away and block. Without thinking, Izuku pushed it away, then blocked with a small barrier in front of him when an explosion from Bakugo made the fireball explode. Izuku's barrier stopped most of the damage but was blown away, so he still took some damage from it as he fell to the ground. His shirt was burned away, which revealed his scarred body. Everyone was shocked by his scars but quickly snapped out of it as Izuku wasn't moving and bleeding a lot. Aizawa checked to see if he still had a pulse, and this was the case, but very faint. Uraraka, use your quirk on him. Ida, rush him to Recovery Girl together with Dawn. Aizawa quickly said. Once you are there, Ida, offer your energy to Dawn so she can transfer it to Izuku. That way Recovery Girl can use her quirk to save him, but be quick, he added. Everyone quickly did as was told. They stormed the nursery. What's happening here? Recovery Girl asked, shocked at what happened. It's Izuku, we have to save him. Dawn said. My God, is the only thing she could bring out at the state he was in. I can't use my quirk on him like this, she said. We got that covered. Dawn said, grabbing Ida's hand to use his energy to restore Izuku's energy. I use my quirk and restore energy to him, that way your quirk can heal his wounds. Dawn said. That's a good idea, she said, running towards them while giving the boy a kiss on his head. Dawn kept healing his energy until both she and Ida were breathing heavily. That's enough, kids, he is out of danger now, she said. Dawn stopped healing his energy and fell forward on top of 𝐒𝐿. You should rest too, Dawn, Ida said. I can rest once 𝐒𝐿 is all right, she said. Well, if you still want to help, you can help me clean off this BLD from him. Recovery Girl suggested, and so they did. 𝐒𝐿 was now silently sleeping and recovering. Dawn really was tired, and so Recovery Girl placed another bed close to 𝐒𝐿's bed. Lay down here and rest, this way you are still close to him, she said. Dawn nodded and got on the bed. She then grabbed 𝐒𝐿's hand and fell asleep. Ida went outside the office for when others came so they would be silent, and he was just in time as all the teachers and Class 1A came. 𝐒𝐿 is out of danger, but he really took heavy damage. The scars he has. I don't know if he already had them or if it was from the attack, but it hurts seeing it, Ida told them. They are resting now. We are allowed to walk in, but we have to be very quiet. Ida explained. With that, everyone walked inside. Recovery Girl covered 𝐒𝐿's chest with a blanket. Only his head and arm could be seen as his hand was holding Dawn's hand. They look so peaceful like that, Ashido silently said. 𝐒𝐿 slowly opened his eyes, but pain soon took over, making him wide awake. Damn, that hurts, he said while leaning forward. He noticed that his hand was holding Dawn's hand, and so he just lay down again as he didn't want to wake her up. Then he noticed the others. Oh hey guys, everyone alright? He asked. We are alright thanks to you, Kirishima said. How are you feeling? He asked. I haven't found anything hard or strong enough to compare to the hit and pain I feel, he joked, making the others laugh. Then Dawn woke up, got out of the bed and got on 𝐒𝐿's bed without saying anything. She just hugged him and her head on his chest, hiding her face. Then she began crying. No one said a thing as everyone, including 𝐒𝐿, knew what was wrong. He placed a hand on her head and an arm around her. Everyone noticed the scars he had on his arms. Some of the students held their hand in front of their mouth to cover their shock. Others looked sad at what they saw. You made me worry. You know I should be furious with you. Dawn broke the silence. But if you didn't act when you did, then we all would be hurt, if not dead, she cried. Thank you, she whispered. 𝐒𝐿 lightly smiled and held her closer. 𝐒𝐿, those scars, Ida started. Then 𝐒𝐿 noticed his scars on his arms were revealed. He became pale. Dawn also noticed this as she quickly took his arms and placed them underneath her around her stomach to hide his arms. Everyone looked confused at Dawn. He doesn't like showing it, she answered as if she felt the stares. It's alright, Dawn, I'm glad you covered it for me to help, but I think it's alright, they are our friends after all, so they have the right to know, 𝐒𝐿 said. Dawn looked up. Are you sure? You always tell me don't force yourself if you aren't ready. The same goes for you, you know, she said. 𝐒𝐿 placed his head against hers. Yeah, I am sure they already know the story and they are our friends. With that, Dawn stood up. Then 𝐒𝐿 tried to get out of bed but fell to his knees. Sorry kiddo, you can't move around yet. We literally took all your remaining energy as well as that of her and Ida to even heal you enough to get you out of danger, Recovery Girl explained. Dawn walked up to him, placed 𝐒𝐿's arm around her and helped him up. You have been taking care of me for a long time now. This time it's my turn to take care of you, she said, determined. Please do, he said with a smile that made her blush. He slowly straightened himself so they could all see his upper body and arms. Dawn looked as well and placed a hand on the scar left on his chest as she remembered how that one happened. Everyone was staring in shock at all his scars except for Recovery Girl and 𝐒𝐿, who already saw it. If you are wondering, that's not all, he said. This shocked them all. Even Bakugo's face was turned to shock. If you think the front is too much, then please turn around and don't look, he said. But everyone kept looking. Suddenly 𝐒𝐿 turned around, making everyone gasp for air when they saw his back. Those are all from the torture I went through. On my stomach and chest are from quirks, he said while turning back. These on my stomach from during training and my chest from the escape. My arms are a mixture of both torture and quirks, he explained. Alright, that's enough, Dawn said while covering 𝐒�l's body with a blanket and hugging him from behind with her head in his back. 𝐒�l laid his hand on her arm that was around him. I'm sorry, that must have been hard for both of you, Ida apologized. 𝐒�l didn't say a thing as Dawn just held him closer to him. The big three also had seen the scars since they were also in the room. What happened to you? Mirio managed to bring out. Dawn tensed after hearing that. Calm down, Dawn, he said while comforting her by stroking her arm. Sorry Mirio, I can't tell you at this moment, it's just too much to bring that up now, he said. Mirio nodded in understanding. If it's all right with you I can inform them about it later. Nezu suggested. Is that all right with you too, Dawn? Izuku asked as she nodded in his back. Please do, he answered Nezu. Alright I will, but I want to thank you again Izuku, this time you didn't just save a class, this time you saved us all. Nezu said while everyone bowed their heads towards Izuku. This made Izuku feel uncomfortable and heat up. Really, now you get embarrassed? Dawn teased him, making everyone laugh. I will get you back for teasing me, he threatened playfully. Oh yeah? And how are you gonna do that? She said with a sly grin. Then Izuku kissed her on the lips. Everyone's face went wide-eyed and open-mouthed. Sure, they knew they were close and a couple as they told 1A, but he never thought that Izuku would kiss her like that in front of everyone. Dawn herself didn't expect that either. She enjoyed it, but soon after she turned red and hid her face in her hands. Told you I would get you back for teasing me, he said, making everyone laugh. Seeing her reaction, that was your first real kiss, right? Nejiya just bluntly asked, increasing the shock from everyone. Yeah, that's right, he just bluntly answered the question. This really broke the tension as everyone fully laughed now. Then Dawn kissed Izuku on the lips out of the blue. To answer yours, she said with a giant blush. Izuku hugged her tight. Recovery girl, is it alright if I rest at the dorm for the rest of the time, he asked. She agreed as long as he didn't move around too much. Don't worry, I will take care of him moving too much, Bakugo said with small explosions coming from his hands. If I let you handle that, then I think I will be back here way too soon, Izuku joked. I already told you you have been taking care of me for so long, so this time I will be taking care of you, Dawn said. The hottest girl I will ever meet taking care of me. I can live with that, he teased, making her blush madly. Everyone laughed at they really feel comfortable around us now, Nezu thought while looking how they acted. After that, everyone went to the dorm to sit and talk further there. Izuku sat down on the couch when suddenly Dawn jumped on his lap with her back against his chest, placing his arms around her. This way you won't be able to move around too much, and I feel comfortable like this. I feel good being so close to you, she explained her actions. Izuku just laughed a bit and placed his head on her shoulders. You two really are amusing to watch, Ashido said with a big smile on her face. You are so cute together, she added while all the girls nodded in agreement. Izuku and Dawn just smiled. Todoroki, Kirishima, I want to thank you too, he started. What for? Todoroki asked. At the fight I noticed you two stayed around Dawn to protect her. I want to thank you for that, he said. Bakugo, Nejiya, he added as the big three had joined them there, I want to thank you too as well for helping with that. Last fireball, he said, creating a smile on Nejiya's face. Bakugo wasn't used to being thanked and felt uncomfortable, which made everyone laugh. Then all of a sudden Izuku just fell asleep. Did he just? Kaminari asked. Jep, he fell asleep, Dawn said. No surprise there though, we barely healed him enough to be out of danger and he is still in a lot of pain, she admitted, looking a bit sad. Yeah, and then you just jumped on his lap like that, Asui teased. Oh, don't you worry about that, he loves it when I sit on his lap, she said proudly. This made everyone burst in laughter. Suddenly All Might came inside. I see everyone is here and young Izuku is sleeping, I see, he said. This is actually better then, he added. This took everyone by surprise. I have to tell all of you something, maybe even show you, All Might admitted. The big three and Dawn instantly knew what he was on about. After the fight between Izuku and all of us here, Aizawa, Nezu, and I had a talk, and we came up with two things. He said, first of all, if Izuku is fighting someone, we have to support him and at the same time making sure nothing happens to Dawn, he said, looking at Dawn in a serious face. Dawn knew what he meant and nodded. Yeah, he also told me about it. If he had lost me that day, he would have become the emotionless killing machine the professor wanted to create. Dawn filled in. Yes, and that's exactly why we have to keep you safe at all types, and thus we make no problem of it for staying with Izuku like you do. Actually, we all enjoy looking at the two of you, you brighten everything up like that, he smiled softly. This made her blush. The second thing we came up with is Izuku himself. This made them all tense up, including Dawn. We have to make sure we help Izuku fight. Sure, he is strong but not invincible, We all witnessed that earlier today. He said bluntly. Well, we have you and Izuku, so what could go wrong? Kaminari said. A lot, All Might said. What I am about to show you has to stay in this room and can never be shared with anyone else, you understand? Everyone nodded. Then steam was coming from All Might as he went into his skinny form. This shocked everyone but the big three and Dawn. I am not longer the unbeatable All Might I have been. Izuku noticed this in our fight, he stated. That's why he took that fight upon himself to end. The more I use my powers, the weaker it gets until eventually I lose it all Might explained. This took everyone really by surprise and filled everyone with fear. I don't plan on giving up, but this had to be shared with all of you. We have to support Dawn and Izuku by doing everything we can, he said. This motivated everyone and they were all determined. Until Dawn squealed when Izuku held her tighter and kissed her neck in his sleep while she turned a deep red. This made everyone laugh as the tension disappeared. Don't worry, All Might, we won't let anything happen to them. Bakugo and Todoroki said while standing up. Everyone else nodded in agreement. Thank you all of you, Dawn said while tearing up. Izuku is already doing everything he can to protect everyone and especially Dawn, as he already knows what will happen if something happens to her, so we don't have to tell him all this, All Might said. Now I completely understand his action back there, Uraraka said. What do you mean? All Might asked. After that fight we all had some 3 teachers said some bad things about Izuku and Dawn, but he ignored it. But once the guy made an action towards Dawn, Izuku moved so fast it was like he teleported up and got really scary there, she explained. Now I really understand why that is, All Might nodded. Yeah, I heard about it from Nezu and Aizawa, and I'm proud at all of you for backing them up, he said. With that he left dorm and went back to his own dorm for teachers. Everyone else just kept talking a bit longer while Izuku was still holding Dawn in his sleep. A month has passed since the villains attacked UA. Alright class, starting tomorrow we will be going to a trainings camp in a forest, Aizawa told his class. Most of them were excited while others just shrugged it off. They had the rest of the day off to make themselves ready for the training camp. However, everyone noticed that Izuku had been more silent ever since Aizawa made the announcement about the training camp. Hey Izuku, what's wrong? Uraraka asked him. Oh, nothing, he lied. Just slept a little bad. He tried lying his way out. Oh really? 'Cause it looked to me like you slept really good with me in your arms, Dawn said with a sly grin. Damn it, Dawn, he thought. Izuku just left while Dawn followed him. When they were alone and a distance away from everyone, Dawn spoke up. You have a bad feeling about the camp, don't you, she said. Is it that obvious? He awkwardly smiled. To me it is, she said. I have a feeling something will happen there, he admitted, while laying down in the grass to stare at the clear blue sky. We'll be all right. Everyone got really strong and you are there too, Dawn said. I guess you are right, I will protect you no matter what happens, he said. Good, because if you don't then I will kick your butt, she said, teasing. Now that's a scary thought, he joked. The day went by quickly and before they knew it they went to bed early because the next day would be an early morning. The next morning arrived and everyone slowly went on the bus when suddenly Mirio showed up. Hey Aizawa, could I talk with Izuku for a moment, he asked. Sure, but make it fast, he answered. Izuku walked towards Mirio. Thanks for coming, man, Izuku said silently. Sure, but what's this about, he asked. I have a bad feeling about this trip, he said. Mirio trusted Izuku's feeling. All right, and what do you want with me, he asked. If something would happen to separate me from Dawn, I want you guys to keep her safe no matter what, he said. You really have that bad a feeling about it here? Mirio asked. You have my word, if you happen to get separated then we will give our very lives to keep her safe. Mirio said. Thanks, sorry to bother you with this, Izuku said in a sad tone. No worries. Man, we are friends. After that Izuku got on the bus and sat down next to Dawn, who just grabbed his arm and laid her head on his shoulder while falling asleep. Eventually they reached a cliff where some of the wild PP cats were waiting for them. The wild PP cats were nice enough to lend us their private space to train here, as they will also help us monitor you and help you with your training, Aizawa explained. But first you have to make your way towards the camp from here, Aizawa said with an evil grin. The forest is filled with monsters created by Pixie Bob. Oh, and Izuku is not allowed to help, otherwise it would be too easy, he said. That's unfair. Kaminari shouted. Now you all should get going, Pixie Bob said in a sadistic way. She then used her quirk to throw them off the cliff so they would get into the forest. What about me? Izuku said, still on the cliff holding Dawn. Wait, weren't you in the middle of the group? Mandalay asked. Yeah, that's right, he said casually. He's so fast, Mandalay thought. She then looked at Aizawa. Is that speed his quirk? She asked. You are gonna be surprised, but he isn't even using his quirk. Aizawa stated. What? Mandalay and Pixie Bob said, both in shock. Really, Izuku? You just really had to do that? Dawn pouted. What? Aizawa told me I wasn't allowed to help, he stated. Wait, if he isn't allowed to help because he's too strong, then why is he here? Mandalay asked. Well, he is part of Class 1A. It wouldn't be fair to leave him behind, and if anything were to happen here, even if the chance is low, then it's best to have him here. He explained. Eraserhead, just how strong is this kid? She then asked. Strong enough to defeat All Might, I think, he stated. This shocked the members from Wild PP Cats. He can generate stronger power than All Might, but at the cost of a lot of energy, Aizawa explained. And to All Might's exact words, he used around 150% at All Might, comparing it to his own quirk, that is. Mandalay's jaw almost broke after hearing that. I will be waiting at the camp then, Izuku said, then jumped off with Dawn and just ran at her speed towards the camp. I am thinking it also has a connection to that girl. Mandalay asked. Then Aizawa explained how Dawn came in his life and for what purpose, also the torture they went through. That's horrible, and yet they still want to be heroes and seem so happy, she said. Aizawa nodded. After a few hours, everyone made it to camp. They were all beat after all those monsters in the forest. They went for dinner. After that, everyone was assigned to the rooms. Dawn asked for permission to stay with Izuku, and it was granted, since they knew about everything. Day 1 of the 7 was done as everyone went to bed. You still got a bad feeling about all this? Dawn asked Izuku. Yes, I don't know why, but I have a feeling something is about to happen. Izuku said with worry in his eyes. Can you hold me? Dawn asked. Izuku looked confused at her and saw a smile on her face. He smiled back and placed his arms around her. How do you feel now? She asked as she snuggled into his chest. Safe, amazing, and warm, he answered. I feel the same. But what I meant to say with that is don't worry, she said. She looked up and saw the big scar on his chest again. Her smile turned into a frown as she let her fingers go over his scar. Are you still feeling guilty about that? He asked. Yes, if it wasn't for me, then you wouldn't have that scar, she said in a sad tone. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't even be who I am today, and I wouldn't even be here. This scar is nothing because I am happy to have you by my side, he said. Besides, if I didn't have you, I would have become an emotionless killing machine, he said. That's true, and I am glad to have you too, she said. With that, they fell asleep. Next day, everyone was training their quirks while also Class 1B joined in, and Monama began making fun of them again before Kendo struck him down with a karate chop to the neck. The training went good for everyone. They were so tired no one could move after all that. You all did good today, but you should all rest up as you will be pushed to your limit every day, Aizawa explained. Everyone was slowly going to bed after a few hours, but Izuku's bad feeling just got way worse. Everyone was still talking but were about to sleep, same for Dawn, until Izuku jumped out of bed and ran outside. Something is happening, Dawn said. Someone get the pros, Dawn said while running outside. Izuku was standing in front of the front door. After a few seconds, Aizawa and the PP Cats ran outside. What's wrong, Izuku? Aizawa asked. Izuku looked around. I had a bad feeling and I was right, he said. Wait, what does that mean? Mandalay asked. Before we came here I had a bad feeling about this. At first I thought I was overthinking things, but sadly I wasn't, he said. Why is that? Pixie Bob asked. However, she didn't have to wait for an answer as the villain with muscle fiber quirk shot out of the woods and Izuku countered him. Villains? Tiger said. Everyone from 1A came outside while all of a sudden Kurogiri showed up and took Dawn away. You will know where to find us, he said before leaving. No, he said silently. Damn it. He then felt murderous intent coming from the forest. Aizawa, you all take care of him, I have to save her, he said, then jumped with insane power and speed towards the place. Damn it, they wanted to separate them from us. There is no way we could have stopped Izuku now that they have Dawn, Aizawa said in worry. Bakugo, Todoroki, Kirishima, go after him. You three should be good help for him with your quirks, hurry. Aizawa ordered as they quickly went the same way as Izuku. Izuku landed at the place with a lot of force, creating a crater in the ground. Give her back, he said with a deathly glare. Sure, you can have her, a villain said. My name is Darby, by the way, remember it, he added while pushing Dawn towards him. Dawn, are you alright? They haven't hurt you, did they? He asked worriedly. No, they didn't touch me after taking me, she said. We didn't hurt her, we just wanted to separate you from the others, he said. After he said it, more villains appeared named Spinner, Magna, Twice, Toga, Muscular, Moonfish and Anomio. They got us surrounded, Dawn said in worry. Suddenly they all rushed for them. Muscular using full power while Magna, Spinner, Toga and Nomyu all got closer to strike while Moonfish and Darby used long-distance attacks. Izuku created a barrier around them to protect himself and Dawn from the attacks. Don't push yourself. You are still tired from training. She whispered in his ear, hoping the others didn't hear. We have to break through them and get away from here, Izuku whispered back while dropping to his knee. Get on my back, Izuku said. With that, Dawn got on his back. Izuku broke down the barrier, used his quirk, then jumped towards Moonfish to knock him out. Then on Moonfish's unconscious body he pushed himself towards Muscular, using a lot of his energy to knock out Muscular. Izuku was now breathing heavily. Bakugo, Todoroki and Kirishima now appeared. Dawn, run towards them and stay there. Izuku said to her. I'm not leaving you, she said. Please do it before you get hurt by their attacks. Please do it for me. I will be alright, he said. Dawn hesitantly got off and ran towards the suddenly the Nomyu launched for Dawn. Izuku jumped and kicked the Nomyu away just in time but got hit by Darby's flames. Then Magna and Spinner tried hitting Izuku with their weapons, but Izuku kicked Magna's weapon away and destroyed Spinner's sword. But he was kicked in the back by Twice while the Nomyu also came back and punched him in the gut. Izuku was now on the ground. The three could only watch. We have to help him, Dawn shouted, but she was stopped by Kirishima and Bakugo as Toga walked towards Izuku and placed a knife at his throat. You kids stay back or else he dies, she threatened. They all froze as they saw Kurogiri appear. Good, you got him. Let's go, he said while creating warp portals back to their base. Izuku opened his eyes. Keep her safe, he said. Oh, you are still conscious. We can't have that now, can we? Darby said, while giving Izuku a powerful punch to the gut, knocking him out. Then the villains walked towards the warp gate while Darby dragged Izuku behind him. Aizawa showed up and saw everyone standing there. Aizawa, Kirishima said. The man at the base was a fake. What's going on, he said, but then he saw Izuku being dragged away through the portals before he could even make a move. Izuku was gone. Dawn fell to her knees and began crying. We have to go back to UA right away and notify the school and police. Aizawa lifted up Dawn and took her back with him while she still cried. After that they quickly went back to school, but this raised the alarm for UA, making everyone come outside. What happened? Nezu asked as all the other teachers ran towards Aizawa, who held a crying Dawn. They took him, Aizawa said with terror and regret in his voice. Mirio ran towards M and saw Dawn crying. Seems he was right about his feeling, Mirio thought. Sir, he started. Let me take care of Dawn please, he said. This raised some confused looks. Before you all left Izuku and I told me about his bad feeling, and he made me promise that if it would happen that he got separated from all of you that I would take care of Dawn and protect her with my life, and that's what I am going to do, he said determined. Aizawa nodded and placed Dawn in Mirio's arms as he quickly took her to his dorm where Tamaki and Nejaya were also waiting. What happened? Tamaki asked. The villains, they got Izuku, Mirio explained. I promised him that I would take care of Dawn for him if this ever happened, that's why she is here, he explained. Izuku, please don't die. Don't die, Dawn cried. At Izuku. Izuku opened his eyes and noticed he was captured in chains on a chair. You are finally awake, Tomura said. That's good to see, I was almost afraid those idiots might have killed you, he said. The villains were standing in front of him. Now you have two choices: you can join us or we will give you a lot of pain until you agree, 𝐿𝐼𝐼 said. I will never join you, 𝐒𝐿𝐼𝐼 said. They might not know about my normal strength yet, but my energy is low. I have to endure all this until my energy is back, 𝐒𝐿𝐼𝐼 thought. After that they began. At dawn. They are hurting him, Dawn said all of a sudden. The teachers heard this and went towards her. How do you know? Aizawa asked. I don't know, I just feel him getting hurt, but I think I know how to find him. She then closed her eyes and concentrated on his feeling. And all of a sudden she saw him in her head being hit repeatedly, and she also heard his thoughts. Endure it a little longer, I almost have enough energy, she heard. Suddenly she opened her eyes. I don't know how, but I managed to find him, she said. Where is he? All Might asked quickly. In Camino, she said. I could see him and hear his thoughts. He is planning to escape. They were beating him up, but I heard his thoughts and it said I almost got enough energy, I just have to endure a little longer, she explained. All Might quickly called the police to gather as much heroes as possible towards Camino and told them he would be heading there fast. We have to help him, she said. I will, but you stay here, it's too dangerous, All Might said. You will be bringing me with you if you like it or not, she said in an angry tone. The way I saw it, he needs healing. And I can provide him that, she insisted. All right then, but I will have to ask someone from the big three to join since they promised to protect you. If I don't, Izuku will kill me before anything, he said. No worries, I am already here, they heard someone say. When they turned around they saw Nejaya walking in. I can provide the best as help since I can use my quirk to fly, so if it gets dangerous I can fly away with her, she explained. All right, let's go. At Izuku. Izuku had a lot of cuts and bruises from the beating he just received. He was also bleeding on the head and his shirt was ripped of his left shoulder. I think I have recovered enough energy so I might be able to escape. The problem is keeping them all off without innocent people getting involved. Guess I should just make a run for it towards an open spot, Izuku thought. So have you reconsidered your options? Tomura asked. Actually I have, Izuku said. Ah, how wonderful. Tomura said. Darby, take the chains off of our newest member, he ordered. As Darby took it off, Izuku kicked Darby through a wall. I told you I reconsidered my options. I never said I would actually join you, he said, then broke down a wall and fled outside. He quickly jumped towards a roof, then ran and jumped towards another roof. There was a lot of smoke coming from the building which attracted a helicopter when all of a sudden they also saw blue flames shooting towards some houses. Darby had recovered from the hit and joined the chase. He kept shooting flames at Izuku, but he easily dodged them as he felt his murderous intent. The helicopter was sending out live news. They showed how a kid with ripped clothes was running from a group of people from whom one shot blew fire at him. Nezu was looking at the TV and quickly called All Might. He escaped, but he is on the run and followed by the villains. You have to hurry, Nezu told All Might in worry. All Might then gave his information to Dawn and Nejaya, who were surprisingly keeping up with his speed. Then we have to hurry, Dawn said. Izuku reached a big warehouse and ran inside trying to hide, but it soon shot in blue flames as Darby used his quirk on it. Izuku quickly jumped outside and found himself surrounded when all of a sudden black matter showed up which summoned 𝐿𝐼𝐼. I don't think I can handle this, Izuku thought, gritting his teeth. Everyone at the dorms could see Izuku cornered by villains and 𝐿𝐼𝐼 and were terrified. The same was for all the teachers. Dawn closed her eyes and tried to connect with Izuku again how she did earlier, then she heard this thought and got scared. Can we go faster, she asked. Why, what's going on? Nejaya asked. I don't know how, but I am able to connect with Izuku even this far away, but I just heard his thought, she explained. What did you just hear? All Might asked. I don't think I can handle this, she said. This gave Nejaya and All Might wide eyes. Suddenly Nezu called again. All Might, you really have to hurry, Izuku is cornered and 𝐿𝐼𝐼 have shown up as well. Nezu said in worry. We are almost there, we see a helicopter close, I think they are there since you can see them, All Might answered. He put his phone away and quickly rushed towards the scene when all of a sudden they saw explosions from a battle. Izuku was trying to hold them off. He quickly made use of his surroundings, jumping from wall to wall to get closer. Then he quickly knocked Toga, Spinner, and Twice out by giving a barrage of hits while jumping between walls. He then gave a roundhouse kick to Magna, knocking him out too. The 𝐼𝐻𝐽 attacked all at once and all Izuku could do was block as he was breathing heavily. Damn it, at this rate I have to use it, but I don't know if there are any more hiding, and if Kurogiri is hiding or avoids it he can just take everyone away again and take me out after that, he thought. Izuku quickly pushed the 𝐼𝐻𝐽 away and launched a shockwave with insane speed towards Kurogiri, which made him wobbly. Then Izuku quickly jumped from wall to wall, then knocked Kurogiri out into the ground. When all of a sudden Tomura and the 𝐼𝐻𝐽s jumped towards him and Darby shot his fire. I got no other choice, I have to use it, he thought. He quickly charged his energy in his chest, then when they were all close enough he released it, making a giant shockwave to knock them all out. Even everyone looking at the TV saw the giant shockwave knocking the others out. All Izuku could do now was stand on his feet, and even that was hard at this point. They better let me rest for a week after this, he thought before he fell down unable to move. My, you are quite the monster it seems, a voice said. Please don't be a villain, he thought. As he looked up he saw a man floating in the air in a black suit with a mask on. You really did a number on my comrades there, didn't you, Izuku, he said. How? Do you know my name? He asked. You still haven't figured it out, he asked. I thought you should have noticed around the USJ who we were by now, he said. What do you mean? Izuku asked. You recognize the 𝐻𝐽, right, he said. Then Izuku got wide eyes. You are with that doctor? Izuku asked, gritting his teeth. Ah yes, now you remember. I suppose you remember me as the professor, the man said. But you can call me All for One, he said. That means? It was your idea to make me an emotionless killing machine. He asked. You put me through that torture. Izuku now getting angry. Ah yes, but it seems the experiment failed because you gained more emotions thanks to that girl. All for One said. Izuku tried to get up but was barely able to move. All for One aimed his hand at Izuku. Well, it's time I finish you off, he said while powering an air cannon in his arm. No, you won't, they heard as All Might shot at All for One. Then 𝐻𝐽 flew towards Izuku, bringing him towards Dawn. Thanks, girls. For saving me, he said. You idiot. Dawn said. You scared me, I thought you were gonna die. She cried. I thought I told you that I wouldn't die, Izuku said with a weak smile. Then 𝐻𝐽 hit him on the head. You made us all worry. You dummy, she said. Haven't I been hurt enough, he asked in pain. Honestly, you really will have to make it up to me when we get back. Dawn said while starting to heal him. I know and I will, he said. I know I don't have any right to say this. Especially now, Izuku started. But I am gonna do it anyways. I'm glad you two are here, he said. This made Dawn cry a bit. Izuku saw this and placed his hand on her cheek, giving her a smile, and she answered with her own. By the way, how did you guys find me anyways, he asked. Dawn was able to sense you somehow. She felt you were getting beaten up and she also heard your thoughts a few times, and with that connection we found you, 𝐻𝐽 explained. So that's what I felt. I know that I tried using a little bit of my energy to try and somehow send my location somewhere. I guess it worked because of the bond we have, he said. Then they heard an explosion. Dawn, I'm sorry I have to worry you again, he said, slowly standing up. What do you mean? Before she could finish she saw All Might in his skinny form bleeding. All Might was about to lose. I have to help him or we all die, he said. All right, save him, save us all, but you will be coming back to me safely. And once you do, you will take a long rest and stay with me. She ordered. Sure, I was planning on that anyways, he said with a grin. He is so strong. Even in a situation like this he was near death and he still goes into battle. I am so terrified I can barely move, and yet he does things without hesitation, 𝐻𝐽 said. My Izuku is a real hero, Dawn said with a sparkle in her eyes. He makes me worry, but that's because I love him. We all worry because we care about him, she continued. 𝐻𝐽 nodded. Their faces turned to fear when All for One moved again, creating a giant arm with spear-like things coming out of it. This combination of quirks were all gathered to kill you. All Might AFO said. All Might charged his remaining power inside his right arm. All for One charged towards All Might. This is it then. I hope these kids made it out all right, he thought as he saw All for One getting closer. Suddenly a powerful blow launched AFO away. When All Might looked up he saw Izuku used a powerful kick to make AFO back away. That won't save you, you know. I know for a fact you can only deal 2 or 3 blows with that power of yours, and since you have been damaged a lot, that's 2 of those blows at most, AFO said. 1 was enough, Izuku said. AFO charged again while 𝐒𝐿 created a barrier stopping AFO. All Might, that's the last of your power, isn't it? 𝐒𝐿 asked in a serious tone. Yes, you are correct, young 𝐒𝐿, All Might said. That means you can't miss this hit. I will create an opening. All Might, put that last power of yours to good use and make sure you finish him. 𝐒𝐿 said while increasing the barrier at a high speed which makes AFO back off again, then breaking the barrier. Wait, young 𝐒𝐿, what are you going to do? He asked. The only thing I can do to make an opening for you, he said. He then charged all of his energy in his body but didn't release it. Not gonna use that barrier anymore. I guess you are out of energy after all that, FO said. You will be the first to go then, FO added while charging at 𝐒𝐿. Everyone who saw the fight in real and on the screens and TV watched in horror as 𝐒𝐿 just stood there. AFO threw his punch towards 𝐒𝐿's gut, but before it hit 𝐒𝐿 released his energy which clashed with AFO's power. What, you still had this much power left? AFO said confused. Now All Might, 𝐒𝐿 shouted while grabbing the arm while avoiding two spikes coming out of the arm. Damn it, AFO shouted. All Might charged right at him, and the moment All Might was about to hit AFO, 𝐒𝐿 let go of AFO's arm and placed a small barrier around him with the last of his energy. There was a giant explosion which created an enormous crater into the ground which created a large smokescreen. After the smokescreen faded, All Might was still standing tall together with 𝐒𝐿 while AFO was unconscious in the ground. The whole world cheered for their victory. All Might turned towards 𝐒𝐿. I came to save you, but in the end you saved me and helped me beat him. He put out his hand. Thank you, young 𝐒𝐿, he said. 𝐒𝐿 put out his arm, but before he could take All Might's hand he collapsed. Ambulances were rushing towards the scene as 𝐒𝐻𝐼a flew towards 𝐒𝐿 with Dawn. Both All Might and 𝐒𝐿 were taken to the hospital to recover. 𝐒𝐻𝐼a went with All Might as Dawn went with 𝐒𝐿. Back at the hospital, Dawn was sitting next to 𝐒𝐿's bed when the rest of the class charged in. Be quiet, Dawn immediately said, while turning her attention back to 𝐒𝐿. So how is he doing? Bakugo asked. He will pull through. They really roughed him up bad, luckily no major damage or lasting injuries, she explained. He just needs to rest now as he literally used all of his energy in that battle even while being so hurt, she explained. We all care for him, so we were all worried. But I love him so much, it just hurted me so much what he went through at the camp and here. I know he did it to save me, but still, she cried. Well, once he wakes up, show him and let him feel just how much you love him. But for now, don't worry, he will be fine. Aizawa comforted her now, which took everyone by surprise as he normally never showed such a thing. Or said such a thing for that matter. Yeah, and you won't be happy once he wakes up, Dawn joked around while crying and laughing. Why is that? Aizawa said with a grin. He told me he would take a break for at least a week and just stay by my side and make it up to me, so I doubt he will do anything for school the coming week, she said. I figured as much, Aizawa said with a smile. Well, he deserves it certainly after he saved you at camp and All Might from that psycho, he admitted. Well, that's good to hear, 𝐒𝐿 said while humming in pain. 𝐒𝐿! Dawn shouted at him. Yeah, I know, I will keep my promise, he joked. I already got permission to not do a thing for a week just to be with you, he kept on joking. Making everyone laugh. Honestly, kid, do you take anything seriously? Aizawa said with a grin. Sure I do, I take Dawn and my feelings for her very seriously as well as her safety, he said. At that moment Dawn stood up, stopped his talking and kissed him right there. Stop talking and joking for once, I love you, you big idiot, and with that she kissed him again. Din, she certainly doesn't hesitated with my advice, Aizawa joked, making everyone laugh. 𝐒𝐿 kissed her back and hugged her. After she stopped kissing him, 𝐒𝐿 got up from his bed when the doctor came inside. I'm sorry you can't move around yet, you lost all your energy and your injuries haven't healed either, you have to rest, the doctor said. 𝐒𝐿 tried standing up anyways and fell to his knees. DMN, do you ever listen? Bakugo asked. That reminds me, Dawn, 𝐒� started. Sorry to bring this up. But you remember what happened to us back when, right? He started as she sadly nodded. You also remember the professor? She got confused now. Yes, but what does all that have to do with it? She asked. That man All Might and I beat it, that actually was the professor, he explained. Everyone had wide eyes. Are you serious? She asked. So the professor is now in jail? She asked. While 𝐒𝐿 nodded with a smile. I just defeated one of our demons, he said. Dawn began crying heavily while hugging Izuku. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, she kept crying. Izuku just rubbed her back to comfort her while the others stood there smiling. Izuku tried to get up again but failed again, until Dawn placed herself under his right arm helping up while Bakugo did the same on the left side. If you can't do something, we will be here to help you, Bakugo said. Thanks you guys, he said. Then they slowly walked towards All Might's room. Young Izuku, seems you are doing fine, All Might said. Well, I don't know about my condition, but I do know that I am feeling great, he admitted. And why is that? All Might asked curiously. Well, we just beated the worst villain out there who was also a demon from our past. I got some amazing friends around me, and to top it all, the most amazing girl in the world is my girlfriend, he said. How can I not feel great, he said with a smile. All Might then turned towards Dawn, who blushed like crazy but with a smile. Glad to hear it, All Might said. After that they all just talked for a while until All Might was also allowed to leave. Then they went all back to the dorms. Once in the dorm, Izuku sat in the one-seat couch while Dawn jumped on his lap again to cuddle with her. Izuku. Oh, that reminds me, 𝐂𝐻𝐼a said. You know, Izuku, Dawn really thinks highly of you, she said with a sly grin. When you went to help All Might, we were frozen in fear, but you just rushed to All Might to help him. Do you know what Dawn said? She said, chuckling. 𝐂𝐻𝐼a don't, she said as she wanted to get up, but Izuku had his arms around Dawn. Sorry Dawn, my arms feel really heavy all of a sudden, Izuku joked. No, please let me go. Let me stop her, she said, blushing. She said, "My Izuku is a hero, how sweet is that?" 𝐂𝐻𝐼a said. This made Dawn so embarrassed she hid her face into Izuku's chest, which made everyone laugh. Glad that my Dawn thinks of me that way, he said. This made her look up. She then gave him a NTMT kiss filled with love. Get a room, you two, there are more people sitting here, Bakugo said teasingly. I would, but it can't really move yet, Izuku said. Everyone was still laughing. Glad to have you back with us, man, Bakugo said while holding his fist towards Izuku. Glad to be back and sorry that I worried all of you, he said, fist bumping. You sure as hell did, Bakugo quickly added. Which reminds me, Dawn whispered in a flirting way in Izuku's ear. You will be staying with me this week without leaving my side, and you have to make it up to me, she said with a big smile. Which made Izuku blush madly. You shouldn't tease me like that, he said. And why shouldn't I, she asked. Because then I have to tease you back, he said with an evil grin while starting to tickle her. No, no, please have mercy on me, she said while laughing. I guess someone recovered his energy, Kirishima said, making everyone laugh. Yeah, but I still have to rest more, Izuku admitted. Could you guys help me to my room, he asked. Sure, Dawn and Todoroki said as they both helped him up and helped him towards his room. Well guys, I will be staying with him. Good night everyone, Dawn said while leaving for their room after bringing Izuku there. Izuku lay on his bed covered in bandages as he tried to get it off. Let me help you with that, she said as she slowly took off his bandages. You know, even with those scars you still have an amazing body, she admitted. You are one to talk. Luckily you don't have any on that awesome body of yours, he said, making her blush. She then took her clothes off so she was only in her underwear and laid next to him. Well, me and my body are only for you, she said. And me and mine for you, he answered. This made them both laugh. Then they began kissing again. After some time they stopped. I love you, they both said in unison. With that she laid half on top of him with her head on his chest and her upper body on his body as they slowly fell asleep. Izuku had promised Dawn that he would take a week to relax and stay by her side at all times, and she was sure to keep him at that. Hey Izuku, spar with me. Those DMN extras are no challenge at all, Bakugo said. Sorry Bakugo, I promised to take a break for a week and stay by Dawn's side, and I can't break that promise if I want to stay alive, Izuku answered awkwardly. Wait so you can beat All Might at full power but get scared of your girlfriend, Bakugo teased. Once you see her mad you will 𝐒𝐻𝐼 your breathes even more than I did. I promise you that, Izuku said. When all of a sudden Dawn came back into the room. Did I hear something about Izuku and a spa, she asked in a devilish tone which brought a cold shiver over Izuku's spine as he began to sweat. Let him spar with me, Bakugo ordered. No way in hell, he is mine for the entire week. Well, he is mine anyways, but he promised to take a break this week and stay with me, and I am gonna hold him to that, she answered. Come on, it's just a few minutes, he said when she got zest. If you want you but handed to 𝐻𝐸, then I can take you in a few seconds, she said while releasing some kind of aura which made Bakugo almost 𝐻𝐸 has breathes and made Izuku almost cry. Alright, I get it, Bakugo quickly said, which made the aura disappear. Good to see we are all on the same length then, she said with a big smile. Scary, everyone thought. Then everyone noticed Izuku on the ground almost crying and trying to crawl to a safe distance. Just what did you do to Izuku to make him this scared of you when you are angry? Uraraka asked. Oh yeah, about that, I was around him for 1 month and he was a depressed mess back then. I got so angry for how he was back then that I kicked his butt badly, she bluntly said. What? Everyone said in shock. Normally I'm not much of a fighter and I only heal butte around friends or people close to me. I can get kind of scary when I get angry, she said in a playful way. Okay, but how did you kick his butt? Asui asked. Please stop, I don't want to relive that, Izuku said, trying to hide while Dawn went up to him and pulled him back to the rest by grabbing his leg. I am curious about why the strongest guy we know 𝐻𝐸 his breathes like that, Asui said. You know you are way too straightforward, he answered. I know, now Dawn tell us, she quickly said. Well, he can't have it to see me hurt so he wouldn't fight back, so that's some sort of handicap in place I guess, but still I knocked him out so bad even the doctor felt bad for him and left him for the day. Some of his wounds are kinda my fault, she chuckled. I never want to have you angry at me, Kaminari said. I enjoy living too much, but that leaves one thing, you wanted to spar didn't you, Dawn said watching down on Izuku. No, not really, I swear I told him I had to keep my promise to you and that I wanted to stay with you and I have a break, I swear, he said in panic. Izuku, man up already, are you really letting yourself be bossed around by your girlfriend? Bakugo said when he felt someone creeping behind him, giving a shiver down his spine. Did you say something? She asked. Nope. Nothing at all, Bakugo quickly said. Are you really the same Dawn that Izuku protects all the time? Uraraka asked. Well yeah, but he made me worry so much and he risked his life so much. I just have to step up now since I don't want to lose him, and I want some time in peace with him, and not only when villains attack us or if we are on the run, she said with a smile. We will help you to keep the boys in check, all girls said in agreement. Wait, Izuku was the one to take a break and have a promise, so what did we do? Kaminari asked, sweating. Screw that, I am out of here. Bakugo tried running. No you won't, we all suffer together. Zero said while shooting tape at Bakugo. Let me go, you DMN idiot. Bakugo shouted, I want to enjoy my life in peace while I can. This made everyone laugh. They all decided to go to the mall and do some shopping. Once there, everyone went their separate ways in groups. Dawn and Izuku wanted to be together for a bit on their own, so they left everyone. First they went for clothes, as Izuku had to rate every setup Dawn had tried on. After that they went to get something to eat. They sat for a while they talked a lot and just laughed and enjoyed the moment. It was getting dark outside and they figured they had to go back. Hey, come with me, Izuku said, grabbing her hand, and started running. Izuku, hold on, where are we going? She asked. It's a surprise, but I promise you will like it, he said. After some time they got up on top of a high hill where Izuku just stopped and laid down on his back. Why are we here? Dawn asked. Lay down and watch, he said, and so Dawn did. She looked towards the sky and saw the clear sky filled with stars as her eyes began to sparkle. Wait for it, there is more, he said. Wait, more? Really? She asked as he nodded. Just watch, he said with a smile. After some time she saw what he meant as she was watching a bunch of falling stars. Wow, Izuku, it's so beautiful, she said. Well, now you know what you are in my eyes, he flirted. Although it made her blush. Hey! She broke the silence after Izuku had said that. I know it's painful, but can we go to your mom's grave? I want to meet her even if it's not in person, she said. Izuku just nodded. Dawn slowly got cold as Izuku handed her his jacket to warm her up. Slowly they walked towards 𝐒𝐭𝐻𝐲 grave. They knew where it was since Bakugo told them some time ago. Hey mom, sorry that I haven't been around in so long. I survived that night and went through a lot and I miss you so much, Izuku started while tearing up. But I found someone really special who keeps me alive and keeps me fighting, he said looking at Dawn. Hello 𝐒𝐭𝐻𝐲. My name is Dawn. I met your son in that hell we were in, but thanks to your son we made it out and are living happily now. I am also kind of his girlfriend, she winked at the grave. I hope you would have liked me if you were still alive, but I promise I will keep him alive and safe, she said determined. Izuku placed his arm around Dawn as they stood there for a while. After some time they slowly walked back to UA. Are you okay? Dawn asked silently. Yeah, why wouldn't I be, he asked. Well, I know it's the first time you visited her grave and then saying such things, it must have been hard. She asked in a worried tone, but when she looked at him he was silently crying. She pulled his hand to stop him from walking, then pulled him closer to her, laying his head on her chest and held him. It's all right Izuku, let it all out, she said before he broke down. After he calmed down for a bit they slowly walked back to the dorm. Everyone was already there but they were confused when Izuku walked in with his eyes covered by his hair and went to his room without saying a thing. Did something happen? Todoroki asked Dawn when she walked in. Well, we had an amazing evening and all, we saw a lot of shooting stars and all, but I think I kinda ruined it, she said feeling guilty. Why, what happened? Momo asked. I asked him to see his mother's grave as I wanted to meet her even if not in person. And it seemed like it was his first time visiting her grave. We are back so late because he completely broke down. It's not your fault, Izuku said, taking everyone's attention since they all thought he was at his room. When suddenly Bakugo got up and walked towards him, eyes covered by his hair. Then they stood in front of each other. Dawn knew Bakugo's exploding behavior around others, so she was on guard as she never saw him act like this. Bakugo, if you dare do anything at him the way he is now, I swear to God dash. She started but stopped as Bakugo cried as well and hugged Izuku. This shocked everyone but no one said a thing. It's not your fault what happened Izuku, he said crying. This took everyone by surprise, especially Dawn. What do you mean Bakugo? He didn't even say anything like that, she said in confusion. Izuku blames himself for what happened that night. He doesn't show it but he feels pain and sadness for it every day, living with the guilt, and I know he is thinking things like, why do I have this quirk? If I didn't I wouldn't be taken away and mom wouldn't be killed, and things like, why didn't I use my quirk? Then I could have saved her, Bakugo explained. I know how he is from way back when we were kids and I watched him closely and he specially tries his best to hide it around you, Dawn, he said. Wait, why around me? I have always been there for him and supported him, she said, not knowing how to feel. That's exactly why he hides it. If he didn't have that quirk then he never would have met you and that thought would have hurt you, but he also didn't want to worry you anymore than he already did, Bakugo explained, making almost everyone cry. Suddenly Dawn just ran towards them and hugged them both. You two are idiots, you know that, she said while crying, placing a small smile on the boys. Sorry, Izuku said. Stop, I don't want to hear you apologize to me. I get why you have those thoughts but it doesn't hurt me because you don't mean it offending to me and it's not your fault what happened, she said. We all care about you and we all support you. We are your friends and we are here for you, she added. And I especially will always stay at your side no matter what, Izuku, because I love you more than anything, she said. With that everyone came together and made a group hug before Bakugo ruined it. Okay, Dawn and Izuku, I can handle but not all of you, he shouted while wiping his tears away, making everyone laugh. Thanks you guys. After the night that Dawn and Izuku went to Izuku's grave, they became even closer to each other as well as the rest of Class 1A after what happened when they came back. Izuku still had 6 days of rest and was enjoying every minute of it, and his girlfriend Dawn. They teased each other a lot and even got teased by other classmates. They also took a trip to the movies. The week ended pretty fast. Time flies when you are having fun. It was time for them to resume school and homework as well as hero work and training. Although Aizawa would have to tell them about the provisional licenses, he just fell asleep and couldn't be bothered with that at the moment. Is this for real? He told us he would explain about the provisional licenses and what we should do to prepare, and all he does is go to sleep without explaining a thing. Ashido said, stressed. I do hope he tells us about it soon. I really want to get my license so I can use my quirk in public and help the heroes. Itaseeka's having to stay at the sideline, Kaminari said. Don't worry, I have no doubt in my mind we will all get out licenses, Izuku said. Well, if the strongest person in the world says that there is no doubt, then we really have nothing to worry, Kirishima said with a big grin. I wouldn't go so far as to say I am the most powerful in the world, though I wouldn't be able to fight that all for one guy on my own, and I bet there are more strong villains and heroes, he said. Just accept the DMN compliment, Bakugo said. Make me. 𝐒𝐿 provoked for fun. 𝐒𝐿, what did I tell about provoking Bakugo? You know it will end up in a fight if you provoke him. Or is that what you are secretly after? Dawn asked. No, why do you think that? 𝐒𝐿 said, sweating. Nope, not gonna do a thing, she is way too scary even for me, Bakugo thought. Suddenly Dawn grouped up together with all the girls and whispered something when all of a sudden they turned around to look at 𝐒𝐿 with an evil smirk. Aizawa is asleep and we can do what we want at the moment till next class starts, but that won't be for a few hours, so, she started in an evil tone. Hey 𝐒𝐿. Bakugo started. Why, yeah what is it Bakugo, he stuttered back. Can I give you some advice, he asked. You never give advice to anyone. If you want to give me advice then that means I am in pretty big trouble, he said in panic. Yeah, about that I think. He started to keep silent for a second. Run for it. Bakugo yelled before he grabbed Kirishima and 𝐒𝐿 and ran out. Kirishima, hold them off a sec. Bakugo said while Kirishima used his hardening but was sent floating the second after that. You really think it's that bad? 𝐒𝐿 asked. 𝐒𝐿, look behind us and tell me what you see, he said. 𝐒𝐿 looked and froze. On the other hand, keep running please, he said. You know you are faster than me, right? You should run, they are after you after all. Bakugo said. Good point, but I don't want to die alone. Suddenly the big three showed up. Nejaya, help us catch 𝐒𝐿. Dawn shouted, and before thinking Nejaya shot an energy wave at the two while 𝐒𝐿 made a barrier. Okay, put me down this time, I run. I don't want to die, 𝐒𝐿 said. While suddenly Dawn managed to get a whole group to support her. Bakugo jumped on 𝐒�l's back. Don't tell anyone about this, you hear, or I will kill you myself. Bakugo said, feeling embarrassed, but that was instantly taken over by fear. You know that your girlfriend is the most scariest person on earth, right? Bakugo said. I know she is sweet, but I haven't seen this side from when she kicked my butt, 𝐒�l answered. How the F did she get so many people to help her? Bakugo said in terror. No idea, but I am not gonna ask, 𝐒�l said, running outside. Suddenly he stopped and took a fighting stance towards the gate. What's wrong, why did you stop? Bakugo asked. 𝐒�l didn't say anything, instead kept watching the gate closely. The group made of Class 1A and 1B together with the big three saw this and stopped their chase. Something is gonna happen, Mirio said. How do you know? Nejaya asked. Just look at him, he is tense and doesn't respond to us or Bakugo. He answered. Suddenly a warp opened on the wall above the front gate, only showing Tomura and Kurogiri. What are you two doing here? 𝐒𝐿 immediately asked. The alarms went off because of intruders, so all the teachers ran outside as well and everyone took a battle stance. We just came to watch as you destroy your friends and this school, Tomura said in an amused tone. What do you mean that I will destroy this school and my friends, he asked. Well, you were unconscious for some time when we captured you and we figured the chance you would join us would be very small. So we made a little backup plan for if you refused, Tomura said. What did you do to me while unconscious, he asked. Nothing much, just something my MSTR made before we got you. It's a chip which makes your quirk as well as your body lose control. All we have to do is click this button right here. Tomura said, showing a small button. Why should I believe that? I bet this is all some sort of plan to get me separated again, 𝐒�l said, not letting his guard down. You really think so? Wanna test it out then? He said with a grin and clicked the button. 𝐒�l began screaming and fell to the ground. Everyone was worried, but then all of a sudden the screaming stopped and 𝐒�l got up without saying a thing, like nothing happened at all. Oh yeah, I should have mentioned this. You will feel like you can't move a muscle or like you are unconscious, but on the other hand this chip makes your body and quirk go on some sort of autopilot to destroy everything in your way, Tomura explained. You will witness everything you do but can't control your own body. Now why don't you let loose on them a bit, Tomura said while getting out of the way through another warp portal. Suddenly 𝐒�l charged at the group behind him and smashed in the ground, creating a crater. His eyes looked empty, like nothing was there. His expression blank. 𝐒�l, stop this! Bakugo shouted, but that made 𝐒�l go after him next. 𝐒�l used a volley kick to hit Bakugo, who managed to barely block but was still sent flying. Aizawa tried to erase his quirk but forgot about his base strength. He can take us all without even using his quirk, and All Might doesn't have his power anymore to stop him. Aizawa thought. We have to think of a way to restrain him. Aizawa said. Wait, no, we can't hurt him. He is still Izuku. Dawn yelled. I don't want to hurt him either, but we have to stop his movements and stop him from hurting us, he quickly explained. Izuku slowly walked towards the group again. 𝐶𝐿𝐼𝐼 quickly created 5 walls to stop Izuku, which were taken down in an instant. Then Midnight tried to use her quirk to make him asleep, but Izuku just kicked in the air with all his strength and speed to create enough wind to blow the sleeping dust away. Damn it, he has a counter for everything, MC said. Then Kendo expanded her hand and grabbed him. Quick seal of any way he can head to. Once I let go, Zero, use your tape to restrain him while 𝐶𝐿𝐼𝐼 makes a cage and Midnight use her quirk again. She said. And so everyone tried, but they forgot that once his body is covered, Aizawa's quirk won't work anymore, which makes Izuku able to use his quirk again. Everything went according to plan until Midnight tried using her quirk. Izuku quickly charged energy in his body and created a large shockwave. 𝐶𝐿𝐼𝐼 managed to stop it by making as much walls as he can, but this brought him to his limit, and so 𝐶𝐿𝐼𝐼 was out of the fight. Izuku was breathing heavily. Even without having any damage, that move takes a toll on his body and drains a lot of energy. He quickly approached the group again and went for a punch, but Tetsu and Kirishima stood in front of him, stopping him using both their hardening quirks to tank the hit, but were sent flying. Then MIC started screaming at him to make him stop with his voice, but it seemed to have no effect on him. Ectoplasm made copies of himself to keep him busy, while Zero shot more tape and Tamaki used his quirk and grabbed him with some tentacles, which held him for a bit. We have to find that chip and destroy it before he destroys us all, or in worst case himself, Nezu said. Izuku was trying to break free, but Aizawa used his quirk on Izuku again while Asui shot her tongue at him to further restrain him, while Tokoyami made Dark Shadow grab him as well. After some time, Aizawa just had to blink, which gave Izuku the slight opening to use his quirk and break free. Then Izuku launched himself again, but this time was countered by Mirio's fist and after that being sent flying by Bakugo's explosion. Don't hurt him, Dawn said in a worried tone. We don't have a choice at this point, Bakugo said. We can hold him for a few seconds, but only as long as Eraserhead can use his quirk, and the longer he uses it the less time we have. So we have to save that for the best moment. Until then we have to cancel his attacks and counter him, Mirio explained. Izuku slowly stood up and tried to kick Bakugo, but was shot back as Nejaya shot her quirk at him. She saw Dawn looking at her with worry. I don't like this either, but if we don't then we all get hurt. Todoroki used his ice to trap Izuku, but he instantly shattered it with brute strength. Then Todoroki used his fire. What are you doing? Dawn asked. Then she saw that he was holding back in his fire. It reached Izuku, burning off his shirt. Dawn. Bakugo, you two know best which scars he already had. If they implanted that chip, then it must have left another scar, even if it's a small one. Try to find it. If we use our attacks there we might be able to break it, Todoroki ordered. Yeah, but to do that we have to get really close to him and the way he is now. Once he gets close it's over, Bakugo said. Izuku vanished from their sight and suddenly appeared in front of his classmates, knocking a few out. That's enough, Izuku, they all heard Dawn shout. He then looked towards her and charged. Dawn, get away! Uraraka yelled, but to everyone's amazement Izuku stopped. His blank expression changed as it looked like he was fighting and gritted his teeth. Quick! Take me out. Before I lose control again, I can't stop it for long. Izuku breathed. Then Dawn saw a small scar in the middle of his chest. It has to be there, that's the only one I don't know about, she thought. Alright then, try to fight it for as long as you can, she said. Guys, I found where it is, she said, a bit hesitant. Great! Where is it? They asked as Dawn placed her hand in the middle of his chest. This made everyone freeze. That's a really dangerous spot, Nezu said. One wrong move and we don't just destroy the chip but kill him as well, he explained, which made everyone gasp. Todoroki froze Izuku's body to stop his movement so they would have more time to react if he couldn't control it any longer. Guys, please destroy this thing, he almost begged. Bakugo, Nejaya and Mirio looked at each other and nodded. Kirishima, 𝐂𝐸𝐬𝐚𝐠 stand behind him and use your quirks to block out moves but keep him in place. 𝐼𝐼𝐼 said. No, wait guys, don't. It could kill him. Dawn cried out. Izuku would rather die than hurt his friends, or rather you, so we have to take the risk. If we don't do it, he will destroy us as well as himself, and we all know he would never forgive himself if he hurted his friends or his girlfriend, Bakugo explained. Dawn wanted to protest until Izuku spoke up. Thanks you guys, hurry up, I can't hold it back for much longer. He said. Don't worry, I won't die. He said. With that, Kirishima and Tetsutetsu went behind him with also the help of Kendo and her quirk, while Todoroki made a big ice wall behind them to keep them in place. Then Mirio launched at Izuku and punched right in the middle of his chest, but it wasn't enough. Then Bakugo used AP shot autocannon, but that also wasn't enough. We have to create one big strong attack. Mirio said. 𝐒𝐻𝐈 flew up and began charging her energy to shoot a shockwave from her quirk. At the same time, Bakugo took a weird stance. No, Bakugo, don't use that, they said. Then Bakugo shot himself up with his explosions. Shoot it, 𝐒𝐻𝐈, he said while launching himself at Izuku howitzer. Impact, he shouted before he hit Izuku's chest at the same time as 𝐒𝐻𝐈 her attack landed. The force was so strong that the ice broke, making Kendo, Kirishima and Tetsutetsu flying together with Izuku. Izuku was unconscious and his chest was cut open from the force. They saw the chip still intact. That's some sturdy material. Bakugo walked up. I'm sorry Izuku, but I have to do this, bear with the pain. Bakugo then dug his hand into the wound, making Izuku scream in terrible pain. Most closed their eyes and ears. Bakugo had the chip and pulled it out. Alright, it's out, quick, get recovery girl. And Dawn, start healing him too. I will cover his wound so you don't have to see it. Bakugo said. Ida went to get recovery girl as he was the fastest person there. Bakugo ripped off his shirt and placed it on the wound while Dawn ran towards them and started to heal him. I know you are angry at us after all this, but we had to do this for all of us, but also for Izuku himself, he said silently, but Dawn ignored him. Recovery girl arrived with help from Ida and began stitching the wound at the spot, then gave him a kiss to heal. This will also take his energy, so he won't be able to use his quirk for a while, she explained as Dawn kept healing him. He certainly is in bad shape there, that was a very horrific wound, she said. We had to because of this, Bakugo said while showing the chip. It made him go out of control and attack everything and everyone in his path. He managed to take his control back for a little because of Dawn, but we still had to get the chip out. He is lucky to be alive, you know, she said. As everyone nodded silently. To have to use so much force on a classmate and a friend to save him, it's horrible, and I wish we could have done it another way, but in the case there were only horrific ways to save him, Nezu said with guilt. Uraraka, please make him weightless and help me bring him to his room, Dawn said. Her eyes hidden behind her hair. Uraraka ran towards her and made Izuku weightless, then they both helped Izuku to his room. Dawn ignored everyone else standing there and left them there feeling guilt. You must hate us a lot now here. Uraraka asked, a bit awkward. Dawn kept quiet for a bit. I don't hate you, at least you didn't hurt him. I get that it had to be done, but it could have been another way and not hurting him like that, she said zest. Once they reached his room, they laid him on bed and Uraraka released her quirk. Do you want me to leave or you want me to stay? Uraraka asked, not knowing how to feel. Please stay, I need you right now, Dawn said, sobbing. Please close the door though. Uraraka locked the door and sat beside Dawn on the side of the bed. Izuku was unconscious after losing that much energy and because of the pain. Dawn began crying and Uraraka hugged her. After a few hours, Izuku regained consciousness and shot up, forgetting what had happened, but quickly fell down due to the pain. Uraraka and Dawn jumped up at that sudden action when Dawn jumped towards him, arms around his neck, sobbing in his neck. You know that hurt a lot if you jump on me like that, Izuku said. Suddenly Uraraka joined at the other side of Izuku and hugged the two as well. I guess you two must have been really worried there, he asked while both of them were crying now. I thought I had promised you that I wouldn't die, Izuku said silently, trying to comfort the girls. We know, but still, who wouldn't worry? We care about you and we don't like to see you get hurt, and definitely not the way we just witnessed. Everyone that cared about you just attacked you. They even used their strongest move knowing they had to hit a place that could kill you, and it created a big cut. Then Bakugo even dug his hand in there. I know it was for the chip, but it was way too brutal to watch and it hurt so much looking at what happened. Uraraka cried while Dawn only nodded in agreement while crying. Izuku placed his arms around the girl to try and comfort them. Then all three of them fell asleep like that. I have some good friends. They knew I wanted this myself. I didn't want to hurt anyone else, so they respected my wish and attacked with all they had to save me. Even though it hurted Uraraka and Dawn. I am lucky to have them as my friends, especially those two, even though they are protecting me and taking care of me. I am very thankful for all that. He thought. I love all of you and especially you, Dawn. Then he fell asleep.